misconceptions. We've got truth in our possession. No room for doubt, no time to waste. It's time to put flat Earth in its place.
Welcome everybody to Tuesday Night. It's a Thursday, and I'm your host, MC Toon. We've got a debate, and tonight I won't be really doing a whole lot of participating in the debate. I'm facilitating the debate between Robert Greenlee, who you may know. He's been on here quite a few times before. He's on Team Globe, wearing the Starbase shirt. And then we've got Jonathan representing Team Flat here. Say hi, everybody.
How you doing?
We kind of briefly talked about, what the format, but I think mostly it's just going to be a back and forth between Jonathan and Robert. And then after a while, if we've got some questions from the audience, then we'll ask them. But let's... just so everybody knows, even though people probably know you a bit, Robert, why don't you introduce yourself a bit again?
All right, Robert Greenlee, again, as you mentioned, from the Globe side. I kind of ran into Jonathan maybe about a week or two ago in a Facebook group with some of the information he was putting out there, and I kind of pushed back on him a bit, and he said, hey, I asked him, let's do a debate, and he's like, yeah, sure, anytime, let's do it. So we've been coordinating, and we're going to make it happen tonight.
All right. And Jonathan, since it's your first time here, I'm sure they probably don't know you. So what do you have to say?
I'm Jonathan Tennant. I'm from upstate New York. I started in the Marines for 4 years, and I used to be a big time globe head. So, I got swamped with some stuff on flat Earth, and I've come across some stuff that has led me to believe what I believe, and I believe that everybody has a right and a freedom to choose what they want to believe. So,
all right, cool. Well, I'll leave you two to talk a bit, and I'll set up some scenes while you're talking. So, go ahead.
All right. Well, we got the topic that came up. When I first saw Jonathan, is he had posted a video about one of the SpaceX launches. And he was basically showing a video, and I don't know, Jonathan, if I've got your video queued up, or you can present it. But he was basically claiming that the rocket was hitting the dome whenever it's kind of a bunch of strobing actions coming out of the rocket. I disagree with him, explained to him, in my view, what it actually is. So, Jonathan, I don't know if you want me to kind of cue that up real fast, and then you can explain why you think it's actually hitting the dome, and I'll explain and show some evidence to the fact of why I think that's not the case.
yeah, sure. If you want to bring it up or whatever, it doesn't matter, whichever.
Okay. One moment, and then you can kind of narrate what you were thinking is actually going on. So let me move this back over here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Mike, any concerns about it being, it's not quite full screen, but this first one is basically his video, so make sure you don't get any copyright strikes or anything.
No, there shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it was the original I put up right straight from the guy that took it.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
All right. So here you have the launches coming up. I kind of started it in about a minute or so in. So I'll have somebody go ahead and mute it. There we go. So what we're seeing is the second stage of the rocket. It's going up off the left-hand side. Here's the first stage. And all of a sudden, you start seeing some strobing action here. So this is kind of what you're referring to.
Not that part. Right here, that part. Right there. Stop it.
All right.
If you want to go back like a few seconds.
Okay.
And you go back a little bit more and pause it. I'm sorry, right there.
Okay.
No, right there. Now you see at the point, I don't know if my cursor will work on this. Can you see my cursor? at all, or is it on your
So
screen?
right
Where you're pointing. No. Now you see how those rings are coming out away from it, like you threw a rock into a pond.
Yeah.
Right there where your cursor is. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I understand, and I completely hear you. I fully agree with you. What you're seeing was the whiffs from the shots of the booster, right? On that, I'm assuming that's the second stage.
That's the first stage right there. The second stage you kind of saw go off.
Okay, that's okay. So then the first stage, like I'm watching it, to me, it's looking like it's being pulsed and pushed into a barrier, and that barrier, when it hits the barrier, that those pulses aren't making it disintegrate because it's not pushing it hard enough, right? There's not enough thrust, but it's causing enough thrust to cause a reaction, and I believe that's what we're seeing as it hits the dome. It's causing that ripple effect. But I'm not talking about like where your cursor is right now. That's not what I was referring to. I mean, that looks pretty cool. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But that right there is where your cursor is now is what I was referring to. Like that effect is all.
So let's kind of keep something in mind here. So we saw the second stage kind of keep going off frame left. So the second stage is still climbing in altitude. First stage is still drifting up in altitude until it kind of loses velocity, starts falling back down again. But it's essentially turned itself around and it's fired its rocket. So it's now heading back to the landing site. So at this point in time, it's not necessarily climbing as much as the second stage is. And I got a better view here, and I found from somebody else who did it. So here's a really good kind of wider view of it.
Yeah, see, that looks wicked. Like,
so it jumped over to the SpaceX coverage, and you're actually seeing those maneuvering thrusters firing. And here's a really wide view. So I love this because now you can see that second stage continuing to climb and head out. You see the first stage turning around and heading back. And we'll kind of continue to watch it for just a few seconds here. Somebody else's good views of it. So lots of really good views of this effect going on. Yeah, so given that our second stage is still climbing in altitude, first stage is turned around, now heading back to come in the land, you think that second stage would be smacking up against the domes that's climbing even higher?
Well, yeah, absolutely. But it's another thing is I don't know what's really up there. I'm just looking at that going, what in the world is that effect? Like that effect, that whole ripple effect, like you threw a rock into a pond, you know what I'm saying? Like, it blew my mind when I first saw it. But yeah, we really don't know what's up there. Or I don't anyway. I've never been up there.
Oops, that's way too far. And you can essentially see the coverage from SpaceX. That's the right one. Oh, that's your video. There we go, back to this one.
Yeah. I wish it wasn't in 3
places. So, you saw the footage from the actual rocket as it's pulsing of thrusters. You see that it's not hitting anything. Each one of these, even the first stage of the rocket, that thing's 12 feet wide, 140 feet long, weighs, 50,000 pounds when it's empty. So don't you think that if it's hitting some type of dome, it's going to go kablooey?
Well, it all depends on the velocities as well. It's like shooting ballistics. Your bullet's going to disintegrate more so at a closer range target than it is at a farther range target because it loses energy, right? That booster, it doesn't look like it's continuously like a pulse. It's like a pulse, you know what I'm saying? So, and I do hear you. I understand what you're saying fully. And that is something I did look at. And at the same time, I'm also looking at, is it a straight shot? Is it really going, like a bat out of hell into that barrier? Or is it just, like you're punching a mud puddle versus jumping off the Empire State Building into a body of water, right? So I was just considering all of that as well. And yeah, because I did wonder about that. I was like, why wouldn't it explode? But then I was figuring that it didn't have as much velocity as it normally would have, because it's already broke off the rocket. So it's going to lose a little bit of that velocity. You know what I'm saying? Or I would think so.
At this point in time, it's still going many, many thousands of miles an hour. And I've got a couple other views I can kind of show you. And it shows you the telemetry of how fast it's going. And until it gets to the point of, like, literally, because you understand that first stage is coming back to actually land. Mm-hmm. We'll take a look at one of those in just a minute. So now we have this fully intact booster coming back and actually landing with thousands of people watching it. So let's see if we can find one of those real fast. This is actually a fairly recent launch that just happened. And the reason I queued this one up is it gives you a really good view of what happens. Let me find the mute button. So here we've got separation. We've got the second stage on the right. The first stage is now dropping away on the left. Right. Kind of watch what happens. It kind of gets spun around by the exhaust. So you see it on the right-hand side. It's now turning. You see it light its engine as it starts heading back. Right. It's now fired up its engine to start heading back to the landing site. So you've seen that's kind of its apogee there. It hasn't hit anything. The second stage is still going. You kind of see its exhaust on the left-hand side. Right. So still not hitting anything yet. So this is going to be running for a couple seconds here. I think it's about a minute or so. It's been going downrange east. Now it's essentially still going 3,500, almost. I think it's when it started. It was 4,000 kilometers an hour. So pretty darn fast. Here's the fairings separating around the satellite. And we'll jump ahead a little bit more here. All right, so now it's the point that the booster has shut off on the first stage. You saw the speed is now picking up again as it's dropping towards the Earth. So it's kind of a ballistic trajectory now. Now, is that you start seeing, now that it's coasting and turn off the thing, you start seeing all of these pulses of the maneuvering thrusters to get it in the right positioning to where it needs to go.
Yeah, they got to work on the cameras too.
Yeah. So that's what you're seeing in those pulses in your video is maneuvering thrusters, adjusting and make sure the trajectory is right. You can see in the live video that, there's nothing up there. It's nothing that it's running into. Does this sway you at all, or is it?
What's that? Yeah, it's playing. Is this the same rocket, or is this a different rocket?
This happens to be a different one. I picked this one. It's actually just launched a couple of weeks ago because the time launch, the footage is some of the best that we've seen.
Right. Now that one video though, that's the only one I've got that makes that ripple effect. You know what I'm saying? I've got like 6 or 7 other rocket videos, but that's the only one. You remember that one that was shot off in 2004? Was it the CSTX rocket, the amateur group there out in was it Nevada or New Mexico?
Yeah, they typically don't get anywhere near as high as the SpaceX rockets.
Right. But, all I'm saying is, that one there, it seemed to hit something. It sounded like it hit something and it came back and it seemed to be undamaged, but.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So the rocket's going up and those rockets tend to spin to stabilize, right?
Yeah. I know they got I know there's like a thing called like a stabilizer to keep it from spinning or whatever, but.
Yeah. All that was because they're like, oh, it hit the dome. Well, first of all, it wasn't very high relative to these rockets. You see it essentially, it's go to the de-spin device, it stops spinning before they actually separate the stages apart so they can pop the parachute, otherwise it would probably disintegrate. But all the pieces floated down, and if you kind of find the original video, they show the pieces laying in the desert floor, and they're all perfectly intact. So again, it's that premise of this thing's going, several thousand miles an hour, it hits this imaginary dome and absolutely no damage happens to it.
Right. There's, I couldn't find anything on the stop spin. So that's why I researched it. I looked up, I said, what are the stop spins on the rocket? That's the only reason why I know they had that in there to keep them stable in flight. But that was all I could find is that was only there to keep it stable while it's in flight, nothing to stop it immediately while in flight. Yeah. I couldn't find any information on that.
And they call it the yo-yo D-spin, essentially. So, and here's the rocket coming in. Little charred, but other than that, they just launched one, I think, the day before yesterday, and that set a new record for 23 launches and reusing the rocket.
Nice.
And that's something one of these days I really want to get out and see one of these landings in person as well. I got to see the Space Shuttle land a couple of times when I was in Florida, but this is seeing a pencil that's 40-something feet long come back and land on its tail end. It's pretty amazing. But again, intact, didn't hit anything. So, you've made some claims about it hitting the dome. But is there anything you have that actually kind of backs it up?
Just those ripple effects. It looks like it hit the you threw a rock into a pond. Yeah. There's nothing that can explain that away. why it didn't explode when it did it, I don't know, but that definitely there was an effect, and it looked just like somebody threw a rock into a pond, and no other rocket's done that, and only that one's done it that I've got on video. And I've got rockets on video that exploded, and it looks like Operation Dominic Fishbowl, nuclear weapons being shot up into the atmosphere. And, you know, that one that you sent me, I have that up already on the Elon Musk video. And the minute I saw that, I was like, holy cow, that looks like, you know, Dominic Fishbowl. If you look into those explosions out there, yeah, this one here.
That's what the audience is what he's referring to. So this was the second launch of the Starship. The ship itself that had disconnected from the first stage, it continued up towards orbit. They actually had kind of an issue where they had too much fuel, so they started dumping the fuel out, and the fuel essentially triggered an explosion. So it didn't hit anything, but this is the rocket exploding in flight. So that's what I would expect to see if the rocket hit a dome, any type of even semi-solid material, it's going to blow up.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to basically do little pulses. It's going to go kaboom.
Right. I mean, and there also could be variations in that as well, is you know, is what I'm seeing.
Can I just say something quick?
Yep.
I think for that one there, that second Starship launch, the rocket was actually moving downward when it blew up, not upward.
This particular one, because it had still been accelerating up, and they said they would essentially shut off the engines, and it was kind of still coasting upwards from the telemetry, but they started dumping out all the excess fuel.
Yeah,
I think that fuel ignited.
All right. The trouble was for the hitting the dome was that at that moment, the second stage was even higher. That was the challenge.
Yeah, correct. This was I can't remember now. Okay. But anyways, that's what a rocket looks like exploding when they hit something, or, you know, when it explodes in flight. Seeing little pulses, that doesn't match what happens. So pulses pretty much are just the RCS rockets correcting the trajectory of the rocket. And I mean, if you had any evidence at all, other than, you know, I'm just making an assumption that I think it's hitting the dome, I'd love to hear it, but you're just making a claim without anything to back it up.
Well, I mean, that's not right there. Those are pulses, right? And I would agree with you. But the other one, I mean, it looks just like they're like throwing a rock into a pond. I mean, I can't.
Yeah.
There's like, I don't feel like it's been explained away. I mean, you know, and you did a good job explaining it for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't sit well with me. There's just something about it that, you know, I don't know. I can't get my head around those ripples. What's that?
Again,
yeah, like that's
similar type of thing.
No, that's not even close.
Yeah, but you'll see, because sometimes it's firing left, sometimes firing right. The ones you're referring to, it's firing symmetrically, and you'll see that sometimes. But anyways, I think we've talked about that one enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. All right, so I kind of focused, you know, the things I want to talk about based upon things that you had posted recently. And you mentioned, and I thought I want to like toss it back in your lap. You mentioned something that you wanted to talk about. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. Did I find a silly button to tell it stop sharing? Where'd it go? I lost it. Come on. Oh, there it is. All right. So I'm going to toss it in your court, Jonathan. What's the next topic you want to talk about?
I'd like to get into July 8th and the sun coverage on the square area of the Earth versus the round flat Earth versus the round globe Earth. As far as
can you give us a summary real quick of your understanding of the phenomenon? And
so sure, the main conception is about the population percentage underneath the sun on July 8th at one time, and I don't care about the population percentage. That doesn't matter. It doesn't prove nothing. You can put all the population of the world in Africa, and the sun could be over Africa, and you can say, voila, 99% of the Earth's population is under the sun at the same time. It doesn't prove nothing. What I'm looking at is a square area that the sunlight covers. Now, according to the United States Navy Observatory of Altitude and Azimuth of the sun and moon on one particular day, you can plot this out. We know exactly where the sun is at. So, for instance, we're going to use a time of 11 o'clock UTC or Central Standard Time or whatever it is. And the sun, we know exactly where the sun is at that particular point in time. And then from there, we can measure out exactly where the sunlight reaches. And what I'm saying is the sun has to be 0.5 degrees above the horizon or more for this to count. And that's where we're going to plot the grids all the way around the throw. And all these grids come from the United States Navy. None of this is mine. This is all observations from the Navy. So all I'm going to do is take those grids and plot them on an oblate spheroid, on a spherical Earth, and on a Gleason's flat Earth, and show you, because they all have the same grid coordinates. The only variations are with the geoid and the globe Earth. The longitudes come back together to a point at the South Pole, and the longitude lines on the Gleason's flat Earth map keep going out, and they're like, you could say triangulation if you want. They make little triangles, if you will. So when you plot it all out, the square area that the sunlight covers, according to the United States Navy and their observations, it's 85% square area or square miles, or it's 85% of the square miles of the entire globe. And it geometrically is not possible. There's just no way around it. It breaks the geometric laws, and that is you can only light up one side of the globe at once.
All right, so go ahead and share out your screen and show us what you're talking about.
All right, how do I do? I just go to share, right?
For the big share button at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
You can choose which monitor you want to share if you got multiples.
So, where is? All right. So bear with me. This is a little bit of information to get to. To get through. All right, so this is from timeanddate.com. And I just wanted to show this part because it's a general conception of what everybody thinks I'm talking about 99% of the population. Again, like I said, I don't care about the population. That's not what I'm talking about at all. But this is from timeanddate.com. And they're just validating that this is true, and they just, went over it and fact checked it and so forth and all that good stuff, right? So this is the map that everybody shows, right, of the time of July 8th, rather.
We only see your file browser.
You can't see them?
Did you have multiple monitors?
No, same monitor.
Yeah, all we're seeing is just a list of files. We're not seeing the actual thing hasn't opened up yet.
All right. How's that? Is that on there?
There you go. That's better.
All right. I'm so sorry. Can you see that one?
That's better. Yep.
Okay, let me back up. I am so sorry. I apologize. Look, this is my first time, so like I said, I'm a little kid in the candy store. Oh, anyway, let me say all that over again so everybody can see now what I'm saying. This is from timeanddate.com, right? And they're talking about 90% of the world's population gets sunlight at the same moment on July 8th. I don't care about that. That's not what my issue is.
Okay.
Like I said before, I'm talking about the land surface area that the sunlight is covering, and not nautical twilight and all that. So this is just another point in timeanddate.com where they just validate that they fact checked this and all this other good stuff. This map here, I'm not using civil twilight, I'm not using nautical twilight or astronomical twilight. Pay attention to this line right here, right? We're gonna see this line. This is what they say is the phenomenon, that this is the map they show the sunlight covers. So all this landmass, I want to know what the square area is. I want to know what the square areas of the entire globe. I want to know the square areas of the oblate spheroid, and I want the square areas of the Gleason's map, and then I want to plot this on all three. And when we do this, we find that it's geometrically impossible. So I just want to keep that in mind. We're not going into nauticals. We're all of my grid coordinates are where the sun is 0.05% above the horizon and more. Just a blown up view. So this just explains, we can't really see my whole picture here. I got these icons off to this. I can move them. Sweet. Alrighty. So this just explains about the latitudes. Now, this gentleman that did it, he is an architect engineer. He uses CAD a lot. He's an old guy, like, he's up around our age, maybe a little older. He's been doing this his entire life. Now, this is one of the things that I saw right off the bat that caught my attention was 69.04677 miles for each latitude. I know that there's other web sources and other sources out there that say that 69 point, I think it's 173 per latitude.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and you can use either or. And I encourage the viewers and everybody to do these calculations on their own. This video is up on my web channel. You can go check it out and get a clear understanding of what's really going on here behind the scenes, because the guy can explain it probably better than I could. 24,901 miles is what we're told the equator is. He put 24,856 thousand miles based on the 69.04677 miles per latitude. So here he's just explaining that there's 360 degrees of latitude, and same with the longitude. So on the prime meridian right here for the longitude, everything this way or to the east is going to be a positive number. I know in the Marine Corps they taught us east and west, but when we get to the website for the U.S. Navy, you'll understand why they use positive and negative numbers. Everything to the west of the prime meridian is negative, and it stays negative until it gets to the other side where the prime meridian, if you were to continue it on the ball, would go over the backside to 180 degrees. And that's where positive becomes negative, or positive becomes negative, and negative becomes positive. Latitude on the equator, essentially it's 0, and it rises all the way up to 90, and etc. So anything above north of the equator is a positive number. Anything below the equator is a negative number. This is what it looks like on a Gleason's map. Here's the equator going around. So everything inside the equator going towards the Tropic of Cancer and whatnot towards the North Pole is all positive. And then below the equator to the south will be negative. Your prime meridian is the same thing as on the globe. All this side here is positive numbers, and negative numbers, you get to the 180 degree in the back. And this on the side is just explaining the same thing pretty much as what he explained with the globe. It's just written all over again. There's a lot of repeat stuff on some of these slides, so I do apologize for that. On the globe and the flat Earth, the latitudes, the 69 miles between latitudes is the same. It corresponds. And the interesting thing about that is the diameter of the Gleason's flat Earth map is the same circumference as the globe. And we have a geometric law between a ball that has the same circumference as a dinner plate would with the diameter. And there's a geometric corresponding law with that, and I'm going to show you that here in a little bit. But
Actually, real quick, can I ask you a question on that real quick?
Sure.
I just want to make sure I understood what you said. So you're saying the circumference of the flat Earth is equal to what on the globe?
No, the diameter of the flat Earth is equal to the circumference of the globe. If I said it backwards, I apologize. So right here, the diameter of the Gleason's flat Earth, right? Yeah. If you were to take this line, yeah, it could wrap around the globe because it's the same distance.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it right now. I don't want to check that.
That's correct. That should be about 40,000 kilometers,
okay. All right.
26,000 miles.
Okay.
So that makes the surface area of the circular level plane Earth, or the round Earth, 485,234,861 square miles. Right? It's pretty big. It's a big Earth. Did I miss a slide? I think he touches it on, yeah, he does the next slide. Okay. So this is the geometric law between the diameter of a circle and the circumference of a sphere with the same length. This is just a little example that the gentleman put together. The diameter of the circle is 4 inches. The circumference of this ball over here is 4 inches. So the surface, I'll just go through all this real quick the first time, and then, because he goes back and forth on this, but I'll break it down the first time, and that way they don't have to do it again. The surface area A of the circle is radius squared times pi. So you have area equals 4 divided by 2 squared, because 4 is the diameter. So the radius is half of the diameter, in case, people out there don't know. It's okay if you don't know. It's not a big deal. So anyway, pi, he uses, now on these calculations, I will say this, he uses this exact number. If you do this on your computer and you just hit pi, or on your calculator, you just hit pi, you'll get a slightly different number. I mean, pi is a big number anyway. It never stops.
So government work. Okay.
Pi's pi's not a big number. It's an irrational number.
Great.
Yes, correct. So, I mean, my mother was a math teacher. She had pi wrapped all the way around her room. Just kept going. It was pretty unique on a banner. But anyway, so it ends up being 12.566 square inches. Now, for the sphere, the diameter of D is a sphere with a 4-inch circumference. Is circumference. Where did I go? A sphere with a 4-inch circumference is circumference divided by pi. So D equals 4 inches divided by pi, and you get 1.237 inches. Now, the surface area of a sphere is 4 times radius squared times pi. You always have to multiply it by 4. It's just the way it is. My mother could explain it better than that, but anyways, so area equals 4 times 1.273 divided by 2 squared times pi equals 5.093 square inches. That means that the surface area of the circle is 2.46 times larger than the surface area of the sphere, meaning that the Gleason's flat Earth, or the flat Earth, is 2.46 times bigger than the globe Earth. So it's a lot of land that could be missing. So here he goes over what the globe Earth square miles is. Here's all of his math. It's just it's the same what we just went over. 4 times radius squared equals or times pi, and when you put in all the calculations, it's 196,662,730 square miles, which is a huge difference from what we saw with the Gleason's flat Earth. Okay, so here's here's what he did. He did that whole thing over again. This time he put the dimensions of the globe Earth and the flat Earth, and then of course the numbers are going to be the same. I'm going to say this real quick. When I did this calculation myself and I just hit pi on my calculator, I got a slightly bigger number than this. So I just want you guys to know that if you just hit pi on your calculator, you will get a bigger number. If you use this number here, you'll get exactly this number with, a little bit of a tail at the end. But
can I ask you a really, really quick question?
Sure.
So each degree, I mean, hopefully I get this right, of latitude. So that's kind of east to west, each degree of latitude. If you're at the equator, I'm throwing a number at it. If you're at the equator and each degree of latitude is 100 miles, and as you go north, is that number going to get smaller or bigger as you head towards the North Pole? So
I've looked that up, and I think it gets, if I remember correctly, they say, right? The government or whoever gives us this information, right?
Yep.
I think it's a little bit bigger, up around 42 degrees than it is at the equator, if I'm not mistaken, as according to their.
Actually, it's the exact same on flat Earth versus the globe. As you go from the equator and you start heading north, each degree of latitude is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller until you get to the North Pole where it's 0, right?
No, 8 degree of longitude.
No. Longitude. Yeah. Longitude starts at a very point, and it comes out like little crepuscular sun rays, if you will.
Right. So as you start heading south, like if I measured the Tropic of Cancer versus the Tropic of Capricorn, because should they on the globe they'd be the same, but on your flat Earth, what would be the difference?
I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. I mean, the Tropic of Cancer, it'd be simple to do. If you want to figure out the Tropic of Capricorn, the circumference on the Gleason's map, you just how many degrees are.
Exact number, just so you know, it's bigger or smaller. Cancer would be smaller than Capricorn, or vice versa.
Oh yeah, Cancer would be way smaller than Capricorn. In fact, the equator on the flat Earth map isn't 24,901 miles. It's like 33,000 miles. 24,901 miles is on like the 33 degree latitude. Latitude north, based on what I've come across using just the basic geometric calculations of finding the circumference.
Okay, and I hate to kind of disrupt you, but I'm just kind of curious. Have you ever, using, I don't care what mapping tool you use, actually measured You go north of the equator, go to the equator, south of the equator, and actually tell it, how long is each degree of longitude?
I use Google Maps. It was right around 69 miles.
Yeah, at the equator. But how about as you went further south of the equator?
Actually, to be honest with you, I really don't know what degree I was on. I just went on there. I put the grid on there. I went between 2 degrees really quick to see what it was like. I was in a hurry just to figure out what the mileage was between each latitude.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be on.
Yeah, because we'll call it homework is, go back and I don't care what mapping tool you use, but if the Earth was flat, each one of those degrees as you head south of the equator should get bigger and bigger and bigger. But in reality, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller as you head towards the South Pole. So I don't care what tool you use, every single mapping tool you're going to find, it's going to get smaller as you head towards the South Pole.
Right.
And if the Earth was flat, it's going to get bigger.
Well, all the mapping tools were put in the computer by a man. So, yeah. I mean,
you're right. And I'm going to get to a point in a little while. We talk about, you posted a video recently on southern flights, and we'll kind of come up with a point there. But it comes a difference between, it's thousands of miles of difference. And if it was just saying, they just put it in the computer wrong because they're trying to fake globe Earth, airplanes would be crashing into the ocean. So I'm going to let you keep going because I think a lot of people in the audience are still trying to understand your point and where you're going with this.
Well, I'm going
to let you keep going. I'm going to stop interrupting you.
Yeah, no, I'm going to bring it home at the end. So anyways, this is a baseball that has a circumference of 9 inches, and this is an flat Earth that has a diameter of 9 inches. This next shot here, these are his rulers. They're 9-inch increments, both the same.
Yeah. And what's the name of the guy who put this together?
The Founded Earth brothers did it. This guy George right here, he's the architect engineer, and then Josh was the one that hosted him.
Okay, yeah, I'd love to actually, if you ever like in the future, give the link to the original. That'd be great to see.
The original video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get it to you. Yeah. Anyway, so there's the 9-inch ruler on the globe Earth, and then here I took a few screenshots of him doing this because he taped it on there on the baseball, or he taped the ruler on the baseball, and you can see he's stretching around the ball, tapes it off, and then there is an actual 100% scale of the globe versus the flat Earth in size dimension, according to the geometrics. So Neil Tyson DeGrasse Tyson, whatever his name is, says that the Earth is a little pudgier in the center, right? A little pear shaped. So we can't forget the oblate ellipsoid, or the geoid. The geoid is 13 miles bigger, 13-mile bulge at the equator, and it's less at the pole. So to figure this out, it's it's 4 times radius alpha times radius bravo times pi. So alpha radius is the one on the equator, and the bravo radius is the vertical one. So the surface area of the geoid ends up being 196,711,914 square miles, which is more area than that of the globe. So in this demonstration, this gentleman uses the mileage, or the square miles for the geoid. Now here is pictures that they've always showed us. Never, ever is the globe lit up more than half. More than 50% of the surface area of the Earth is never, ever lit up more than half of the globe. It's geometrically impossible with one light source.
Yeah, just correct a little bit. You can get a little more than half as the sun kind of, it's going to reflect around the atmosphere. But let's call it 55%. I'm throwing a number out there.
I'll give you 55%. I'll give you 55%. Absolutely. Yeah. I'll agree with you on refraction, right? I'm not going to deny that. But I'll give you 55%, right? That's fine. I'll even give you 60% if you want. Yeah. You know what I mean? Not, just to be fair. But so yeah, and this is the general picture they show us. So and geometrically, it's impossible to light up a ball more than half of it with one light source. It's not. You know what I mean? We can't do it. No one's ever demonstrated it. Right. So this is what the square miles would be for the daylight coverage on a geoid, and then this over here and this over here would be nighttime, right? So this is geometrically is 180 degrees from here to here, here to here. That's what it is. 180 degrees and 180 degrees is 360. This is what it looks like on a globe. Essentially, we all know, and out, you can a little bit of refraction on the sides is, whatever. I don't deny it. So this is where we get to the good part. All this data source comes from the United States Naval Observatory. Holy cow. Altitude and azimuth of the sun or moon during one day. Now, this website, if you just copy it and put it up in the web link, for some reason, it does not come up. I had to go, and I'll show you that on the. It might have expired. Yeah. Okay. All right. On the web, that I searched to the search bar. I typed in the search bar the U.S. Navy, the observatory altitude and whatever, and it came right up. So once you get in there, like again, I'll go into that website and I'll show you exactly how you do it. Now, the sun is at 0.5 degrees altitude angle, almost at the horizon for all locations, either rising from the east or setting from the west. Again, this is all from the Navy. This is not my information. Mm-hmm. Locations 1 through 24 are longitude increments of 15 degrees clockwise, with each degree representing 1 hour in time. Location 1 is on the same longitude line as the sun. So we know for a fact that on July 8th, it doesn't matter the year, sunlight coverage on the Earth, the sun is located at positive 22.4 latitude by positive 12.54 longitude. I'll show you the exact town it's over. So with that being known where the sun is, we can pinpoint where the sun can be seen. Latitude degrees are either north positive or south negative of the equator, with the equator located at 0 degrees latitude. Each degree of latitude equals 69.047 or 677 miles in distance. Location 1 is negative 61.60 degrees latitude south of the equator on the longitude line 12.54. So he does the calculations there and comes up with 4,668 miles south of the equator is where location 1 is. The sun is always scientifically geometrically limited to 12 hours of sunlight coverage on the heliocentric spherical geoid Earth model. Longitude coordinates shown in the green is the 12-hour daylight side of the spherical geoid Earth. The sun is located on positive 12.54 longitude and is limited to provide sunlight coverage for 6 hours west, which is negative 77.46 longitude, and limited to provide sunlight coverage for 6 hours east, which is positive 102.54 longitude. The longitude coordinates highlighted in red is the nighttime side of the spherical geoid Earth. However, the data depicts sunlight on the nighttime side, which is scientifically geometrically impossible. So, whoa, back up. My computer decided wanted to go fun. Now, so the sun is in Bilma, Nigeria. This is the coordinates of where the sun is right here. Location 1, 67.6 latitude, negative, positive 12.54, which is right here. And if you remember that map I showed you that they show everybody about the sunlight coverage, this is right there. And then here's point 2. Here's 24 points. I'm going to go through every single one of them. Right? And then point 3. And then point 4. And all the latitudes are there. All the numbers are there. There's 5. There's 6. 7. There's 8. 9. 10. There's 11. There's 12. 13. Now, this next one, I just flipped to the other side. Whoops. Let me go back one. All I did was flip to the other side because in order to see it, you got to, go to the other side of the map. There's the next one. I lost track where I was. And the next one and the following one. And you can see it's making that same path that they show you of the sunlight coverage. And again, this is all from the United States Navy. And eventually,
and I hate to kind of push you because you're spending a pretty inordinate amount of time just trying to explain it. I mean, can we kind of I prefer, because you're looking at the globe on a two-dimensional map versus looking at it in a three-dimensional view. I mean, it's easier to let's kind of jump ahead and even look at it from a three-dimensional view.
So, well, here it is, plotted on the geoid Earth.
Begin at the two-dimensional view.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
So all this stuff here is not possible to be seen. It's impossible. The even if you went 60% at refraction, it's just the sunlight geometrically cannot do it on a geoid. Those are the lines we went on all the way around. You know, I didn't butcher nothing. So go to this one here. He put the sun exactly where it's located on the 22, was it 2240 by, I can't read that, 1254, right? So he adjusted it and then he plotted all the grid coordinates on here, right? It doesn't even come down to the bottom part of the globe here. It misses this part, right? And then on the back side, these are all the globe grid coordinates that the sunlight covers.
Okay.
There's no way that's possible. I don't care how much refraction is on that. And this, like I said, this is not my observations, right? And here he's going in, explaining more about water and all of that. This is what it looks like on a Gleason's map. And if you look at a Gleason's map, in fact, this little icon right here in the bottom of it, on any Gleason's map, this is this. And this are the grid lines pinpointed exactly how you see it. It comes right up through the Mississippi Delta, through Alaska, down along Russia, Asia. I mean, this is the exact, there's nothing butchered on this, right up through South America, etc. And this is what it looks like on a Gleason's map. And this works for me. It doesn't work on a globe.
So stay there for just a moment. Okay, go back to that.
Yep.
I am curious. Obviously, from up to down, the right to left, the sun's expanding a lot further. Why is that the case?
If you ask me, I would say probably because of the dome. I don't know. I don't know why it does that. I would be lying if I gave you an answer. I'd be unfair, you know.
I mean, that's kind of
but this, well, it's not a problem because all these come from the Navy. These are the Navy's grid coordinates. I mean, if there's an issue, then they need to be adjusted, not me.
But what you're missing is that the Navy isn't using a flat Earth map. The Navy's using the globe.
Right. And this,
so
right.
Misshapen is essentially you're projecting the globe onto a flat piece of paper, in this case a map. So you're going to have distortion. In the same way, if you're looking at Australia up there in the upper left, Australia is not 4 times wider than it is tall.
I don't care about the landmass of Australia.
It's important because if you're using this as your accurate map, but yet all of the land masses are distorted, that makes your sunlight coverage there essentially wrong because the land masses don't actually match up with reality.
Well, this actually matches up with what the U.S. Navy provides for grid coordinates. You know what I mean?
So I mean, that's that are based upon the globe.
I'll show you those grid coordinates, and they all.
I'm not disputing the grid coordinates. I'm disputing, or I'm basically telling you that what you're looking at is a globe projection, and hence that's why everything is being distorted because it's a projection. Anytime you distort or project a 3-dimensional object onto a 2-dimensional map, it's going to be distorted, and that's what you're seeing is that it's distorted.
So if my sun's right here, how does it get sunlight here?
Is it?
Mm-hmm. That's your globe map. This is the grid coordinates on the globe.
Nighttime.
This is where the sun is, right?
Yeah.
These are the grid coordinates right here. These are all the plots on the globe. All this is the nighttime side of the sun. This is the back side of the sun. Because the sun.
Some of the coordinates. Hang on, real quick. Some of the coordinates are like on your middle line there.
This one?
There's something like a coordinate. What is that? It's distorted or really fuzzy, so I can't read it.
This one right here. You're talking about the equator.
Yeah.
So what I was saying when
That's not zero.
That's not the equator.
I explained that when I was on this page the first time.
Yep.
What he did is he, instead of using the equator as a center, he put the sun in the dead center to make it easier to plot it.
Okay, all right.
So
let's
so this is where the sun is the exact grid coordinates of the sun.
okay, I got you. So
Now
hang on. Let me take a moment. I want to make sure I understand you here. So on that nighttime side, you've got sun essentially coming over the top of the Earth, right?
coming over and down it, so it.
Correct. Yeah. So you've got a little bit of sunlight. Like if you're up there in Iceland in the summertime, I actually was there 2 years ago. I was driving back from going to visit. We went whale watching. It's 2:00 in the morning, and it's still daylight. 2:00 in the morning. So that's essentially what you're showing right here. Is even though the sun was on the other side of the Earth from Iceland, it was still twilight in Iceland. I'm driving down the road with no lights on, but it's still bright enough. That's what your right side is showing you there. That
No, it's not.
let me finish. Let me finish.
Okay. I'm sorry.
If the sun was over the equator, I would agree with you that we shouldn't have, other than that 5% we were talking about, 5-10%, that might have a little bit of bleed over coming over the North Pole. But since the sun is 20 degrees above the equator, you're going to have a lot more sun, as we see in Iceland, coming over the top of the Earth and showing up on the opposite side.
Well,
Can I ask a question just for clarification?
Yeah.
Because we can't read it. What is the latitude line that the sun is over there on the left side?
Like 20 something. I can't read
it's
it.
it's 2240 here. It's
22.4?
hold on. It's 22.4 latitude, positive 22.4 latitude,
Okay.
and
Yep.
positive 1254 longitude.
Okay. And so then on the other one, go
So
back
all
to
he
the.
did was he centered,
Hold on,
he
just a
centered
second.
the Earth on
I just
this.
I need to get some clarification on the numbers here.
Yeah.
Go to the other diagram again with the two circles.
This
right-
one here, or this one?
One more. That one there. Okay. Now on the right side, that illuminated part touches a latitude line along the top there. What is that line that it's touching?
The very, very top latitude line?
Nope. The
Right
one
here?
that the illuminated part is touching.
Oh, this one?
Yep. What's that line?
6740, I think.
6.7 maybe.
Yeah, which, hold on, let me find, I can
Yeah.
get you the exact number. It's
Okay.
give me
So
one
the
second.
point is that the sun is not 180 degrees opposite of where you're still seeing daylight. It's actually 20 degrees higher than the equator. So if I'm looking at it, here is my Earth. The sun is essentially, it's not down here, it's right about here. So if I'm looking at the 180 degrees of that sunlight, it's able to expand all the way to about right there. And that's what we're seeing in that right-hand drawing. Is the sun's not at the sun is at the equator.
Yeah,
then that's
I think
our
it's
sunlight coverage.
I think it's
But
different.
the sun is higher up, so our coverage is like that.
All right. So that longitude is
Latitude.
167.46. It's negative.
No,
So-
I need the latitude of that.
Oh, the latitude
on the right
is-
side.
Yeah, right here, right?
Yep, that one. Yep.
That latitude. It's positive 67.6.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at
So-
the right one on my phone.
So Jonathan, with respect, do you not understand what I'm saying? If the sun was along the equator, I would totally agree with you. There's no way
Well-
that hang on, let me finish, and then you can answer. If the sun was at the equator, then you're not going to have that much bleed over coming over the poles to show you where you're sitting on the right nighttime side. But when the sun is 20 degrees above the equator, you're going to have a lot more light coming over the top of the Earth and lighting up the top of the other side. Yes or no?
No, it's not going to be as bad. But
What's going to stop it?
right here is the North Pole.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, you got one 15-degree segment. You got another 15-degree segment in there. It's another 15-degree segment. Those are 1,036 miles apart. Every 15 degrees is approximately that, and so it's drastic. But the biggest issue is everything's been put into CAD because this guy loves AutoCAD. He's an architect engineer.
Doesn't mean he did it right.
Well, that's why I want you guys to double check it.
Well,
The total surface area of the sunlight on this what he's got, the square area of the sunlight is 166,383,684 square miles, which is 34% sunlight coverage on the flat Earth. But
hold on a second.
it's 84% on a globe.
Can I just go back one more time to that previous one?
Sure. This one or the next one?
Keep going. Right there. Okay, so 22.4 degrees north is 90 degrees away from 67.6 degrees north on the opposite side. So the diagram is the error.
60. What do you mean?
Take
I'm talking about the land. I'm talking about the land mass. I'm talking about the surface area that the sun
the
lights
surface.
up.
Yep, exactly. So I'm saying
I'm just showing. Look, this.
hold on. I'm saying that the error is in the drawing that this claimed engineer did. That's the error. So you're saying it's illuminating too much of the backside. The problem isn't that it's illuminating too much of the backside. The problem is that this claimed engineer drew it wrong.
Well, if you drew it wrong, then these grid coordinates are wrong by the Navy.
No.
And we got a big issue.
They'll go back to that one again.
Because
hold on, right there. He put, for no good reason, he put the sun in the middle to make it sort of look like it's on the equator, which is okay. But he made errors because he did that. He should have put the sun at 22.4 degrees on that, without like transposing the equator down, because the sun will illuminate 90 degrees up from its GP and 90 degrees down from its GP, or north and south from its GP. So 90 degrees south from its GP is 22.4 to the equator. And then the difference between 90 and 22.4, which is what? 67.6.
Yep.
So it will go to 67.6 south, and it will go to the other side of the North Pole to 67.6 degrees north. So this diagram is the error. It's not representative of how much is actually being put on the globe. It's that he did not draw it well.
And we're not even disagreeing, Jonathan. We're not even disagreeing with what you're showing on the Gleason map. We agree with that. We're disagreeing in that how you represented it on that three-dimensional model of the globe is deceiving.
Well, that's fine. I didn't catch that, but the fact of the matter is that it's just to show you of the sunlight throw on a globe. But the smoke check is that these are the grid coordinates. This is in AutoCAD, set up exactly like we would see, and the square area miles of what the sunlight throws based upon the grid coordinates for the Navy ends up being 84% total surface area of the spherical geoid Earth.
No,
which
it wasn't.
is not possible.
No, he made the mistake. All he did was make an error, and he didn't understand the error.
No, he made the error in plotting it on the globe, but the surface area of what the sunlight throws and can be seen is not an error. It's 84% of the globe.
No, he made the error in that 84%. That was his mistake.
Yeah. And we really go back and forth. I mean, the original, let's just call it, claim. And I know you don't want to necessarily refer to that one as that, 99% of the Earth on this day, and it's like 99% of the population of the Earth gets sunlight on this particular day. And it's actually, there's more days than that.
So I challenge you guys, draw this on a globe and then shine a flashlight on it and show me that the entire line is lit up.
Yeah. Go ahead, stop sharing.
I tried it. And he couldn't do it. Now, the only reason he put the sun in the center like that is to make it easy for you to see that, centering the sun on the globe.
All right, can you stop sharing for a moment? I'm gonna do two things here. All right, so first of all, we're going to I turn off my lights just to I know the screen's pretty bright. Hang on, let me minimize that screen and make it less bright. There we go. That's better. Oh, now it's really dark. Cool. All right. So the problem is that here we have he didn't put the sun at the equator, what I'm showing up here. He put it 20 degrees up. And as I do that, now you're seeing the light coming over the top of the equator. So that's what we're representing there in that drawing. Right. It's not down here where the sun is no longer going to the equator. He's up here, and now we have the sun coming over top of the equator. So the sun's here, not here, in that drawing. Agree or disagree?
He centered the sun where it's supposed to be, and he just plotted the grid coordinates on it.
He put the sun. He didn't have the sun at the equator like right here.
No, because the sun wasn't on the equator.
20 degrees higher than that. Yes,
right, that's where the sun is at that particular day and time.
Okay, good. All right. So you see the light coming over the top of the equator, right? To the dark side of the Earth.
Not all the way.
It's not all the way on your drawing either. It was just the top part. This part of the Earth up here was lit up on your drawing, and that's what we see when we bring the sun up, 20 degrees. We're seeing light coming over the top of the equator. Same as in your drawing.
But the problem is, if you were to draw that map on that globe, you would not be able to cover it with that light. I promise you. With my light, I've already tried it.
Hands. No. So we're going to talk about this in a minute here. So if we go back to timeanddate.com, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to talk a little bit more about what they specifically said.
I wanted to take y'all into the Navy website and show you that.
The problem with the Navy website, and you said it, is the Navy website basically assumed that the sun is 0.5% above the horizon, right?
No, it's not an assumption. It's a fact. That's the
criteria they use. The sun is 0.5% above the horizon.
Yeah, so it's visible. Right. You can see the sun with your eyes.
Okay, gotcha. So can you still have daylight if the sun is a little bit below the horizon?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about visibly seeing the sun. But yes, you can.
That's not my point.
Yes, you can. There's civil twilight. There's nautical twilight, and so in civil twilight, there's still daylight, but you can't see the sun.
So here we go. I zoom this in so you can see it better. So with pure daylight, where you can still see the sun, only 83% of people can see it. So daylight's only 83%. When you start adding on civil twilight, nautical twilight, astronautical twilight, that's how they came up with that 99%, where you're just getting a little bit of light. Pure daylight, only 83% of the population.
I'm not concerned about the population part of that.
But it's
about the square area.
It's important because I don't know whether your engineer came up with the math. Honestly, that's a little over my head. I think Mike's right. He's done some mistakes there. The original premise was 99% of the world population gets sunlight at the same time, and they're adding on that nautical twilight. That's how some people are still getting light. If we bring up Google Earth and we look at it in a three-dimensional model, this is essentially the part of the Earth that's not getting light. So you're adding on Australia out there.
Pull it to the side where the...
I will just in just a moment. So let's just compare real quick for what they're saying here. So Australia is black. The rest of the Earth is getting daylight, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at pretty much all of the Earth except for Australia. I'm going to bring it around. We're going to lose a good part of the United States because of civil twilight. This is really hard to do here.
You can't. Where's Asia? You don't even have Asia or Russia in there.
Representation.
I'm telling you, you can't do it, man. I like you, dude. I really do, but you can't do it. It's 85. It
is hard to do on Google Earth. I'll admit that.
You can't do it, and I got a globe. You can't do it. I don't know why I smashed it, but I mean, it's impossible. It destroys the globe. It doesn't exist. I'm sorry, guys.
Let's say one over there. It doesn't destroy the globe.
It does, but I'll leave it up for leave it up for the guys watching.
All right. Okay. We're an hour in. Let's go on to our next topic. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I was going to show them that website just to show them how they can look it up and test it for themselves and go to the website and show that.
I posted the website in the live chat.
Right, but it's a pain in the rear end to operate when you don't know. It took me 15 minutes to figure out what the hell I was doing on it to get the correct, to understand. All right, I gotta have this for the sunlight and et cetera, where the sun is.
Okay,
but I think it don't matter. It's whatever.
I'd like to jump the one that kind of relates to this in a way. It kind of brought up the topic. It was another posting. Come on, where'd it go? Posting you did on your channel about flights in the southern hemisphere.
Yeah, the Max Egan, Globe Earther.
Yep. So I watched the video, and the problem is that I'm going to get to the right tab here. I got too many tabs open up. Where'd it go? Oh, give me a break. All right, just taking me a second. There it is. All right, so this was the video. Let me share my screen out again real quick. I don't like Zoom. I've gotten away from it.
Right.
So the guy was flying from, actually the opposite, but from Santiago, Chile, over to Sydney, Australia. And here's some of the fundamental issues. They were basically saying the guy had a compass, and the entire flight, his compass was going, what is a
southwest and not northwest, which is congruent with what the Gleason's map shows.
Correct. So if we bring it up in Gleason's map, because I basically have it here. So they start out from Santiago. They're actually going northwest.
Mm-hmm.
And then they corrected themselves a little bit later on. It said, okay, well, once you get over here, now you start going southwest. So they corrected
it. Because the magnet's going to pull the north back toward, or the North Pole is going to pull the needle of the magnet on your compass towards it. So you're going to get that southwest direction.
Yeah. So the problem was that the guy that they were interviewing, and he wasn't very definitive. He was sleeping a good part of the flight.
Mm-hmm.
But the bigger issue is this distance. Because if you have to extrapolate, because there is no scale on Gleason's map. You can't most maps say for every inch, an inch is 1,000 miles. But Gleason's map doesn't have that. There's no scale on it to measure distances. So we'd have to extrapolate. So if I do some rough extrapolation, knowing this is not going to be precise, the flight from LA to Miami is 2,000 miles. You think is that accurate?
Beats me. I'm not, like I said, I don't know these distances off the top of my head. I'm not going to say.
You can look it up. You could, do a flight from LA to Miami, and the airline's going to tell you it's 2,000 miles, and you can figure out the math of the airplane's flight going 500 miles an hour, and it takes 4 hours.
Right. Yeah. Somebody's putting one up about JFK to Moscow, and I measured it out on the Gleason's map, and it lined up with their flight.
Which you would expect, because Gleason's map is not that far off in the northern hemisphere. This is where we go back to the distances as you go into the southern hemisphere on the flat Earth map are much longer than they are on the globe. So this is why it's important here. So on the globe, it takes about a 12-hour flight nonstop from Santiago to Sydney. If we look at we kind of extrapolate this out, for that flight on the globe, it's 6,100 nautical miles. If I extrapolate it out on your flat Earth map, it's now 11,542 nautical miles.
What was that number? Hold on, 11,000.
11,542. So it's extrapolation because we don't have a scale on Gleason's map or any other flat Earth map to be able to measure this thing. There's no way for us to measure it.
How long is that flight supposed to be?
That's about 12 hours. So, and if you look at this particular flight, which is flown by Qantas, they typically use 787 Dreamliners. I'm going to zoom this in. The max range of the Dreamliner, even on the 787-9, is 7,500 miles, 7,565. Mm-hmm. So it's literally impossible. Now you're talking about time, just in range, it's literally impossible for that 787 to fly the distance on flat Earth. It's not possible. I've seen claims it's like, well, there's jet streams. Well, the jet stream would have to be supersonic for that airplane to be able to make that distance. And they do this flight several times a week going both directions. The jet streams don't go both directions.
No, they don't.
Typically go in one direction most of the time. Maybe you get 100, maybe 150, sometimes 200 miles an hour out of it. but you have to be getting multitudes more than that. So, any thought about, I mean, how is it possible for this nonstop flight to actually work on flat Earth?
These are my thoughts about it. If you were in a combat zone and they gave you a computer and said, here's your compass, and then they gave you a mechanical compass that we use, which are you going to trust?
How does that relate to this?
Because the compass that Max Egan has said he was going southwest, and it doesn't work on a globe. And I trust my compass more than anything in the world on navigation, because in the Marine Corps, when you're in combat or if you're out in the woods, that's your number one piece. You need that in your weapon. You don't have a compass, you're not going. You better know how to navigate the land.
But does the compass measure distance?
Doesn't measure distance, but it does measure direction, and that direction said southwest, and that's what, and that compass said southwest. So I'm not going to agree with anything electrical at that point, because I know my compass is accurate. I have an electrical compass on my cell phone, and you can ask my buddy Brian Landon. We were coming back from Elmira, headed east, and my compass said I was headed west. So I will never trust an electric compass. So that the onboard screen on that plane suit is going northwest, but his compass that we use, and he even tested it to make sure it was still working right, because he thought it was broke, said he was going southwest. And when he lined it up with our compasses, it was working just fine. So it wasn't the compass's error. The compass read correctly on that flight path.
Are compasses always correct?
Your magnetic compass?
Yep.
Yeah. It's your most valuable piece in the field.
Actually, though, we have, I think I mentioned to you, I'm a pilot. So typically the mechanical compass we have in the airplane, they always put it up on top of the dash. They try to get it as far away from any electronics as they possibly can. Any electronics that are around the compass cause interference. And also the compass, hang on, let me finish and I'll explain what I'm getting at here. The compass actually has a compass correction card taped underneath the compass, because there's always levels of interference. Even though we try to, get it as far away from electronics as we can, there's always errors on the compass. And there's a card that says, if you're, at 30 degrees, you need to add or subtract, 5 degrees to it. So there's a compass correction card to actually correct for errors in the compass. So here's this guy sitting in the back of the airplane, surrounded by a metal coffin with electronics all around him. He's not sitting outside in the open where you can, take an accurate compass reading. He's got a lot of interference around him.
It's aluminum.
That's an aluminum coffin. So same thing in my airplane. It's aluminum as well. But we get a lot of interference inside the airplane.
So if you got a compass in the airplane up in the cabin that's surrounded by the aluminum body, just like the compass that Max Egan had, how come the other one works and the other one doesn't? Is it because...
That's why they put it up on the dash as close to the windows as they can to try to minimize it. And they have a correction card. They actually go and calibrate the compass. They take it out to a place on the airport where it has a calibrated compass, and they swing, they call it swinging the compass. So really, they're swinging the airplane. They point the airplane in each cardinal direction. And I'm like, oh, well, the compass is 2 degrees off, and I make a little mark on the card to make corrections.
You're saying that compass was 180 degrees off then?
Well, I'm saying that the video really wasn't that conclusive. They made a lot of assumptions in the video. They made a lot of false claims. I'm telling you, that makes it undefinitive. If I was there myself, I would probably do it differently. I'd actually document the whole process. I'd be comparing against GPS, what GPS is telling me. But you're totally skipping over my point I'm making here. I don't care what direction the compass is saying. I'm telling you, from an actual flight perspective, on the flat Earth map, the distances are too long for any commercial airliner to fly. And you're trying to divert from that point because it's irrefutable.
Then the compasses are wrong, and why are we using?
I don't care about the compass. Throw the compass.
Well, I do, because the compass said it was going that direction.
I don't care about the compass.
I do, because
we're not talking about heading. We're talking about distance.
I've used compasses to bushwhack in the Adirondacks.
I don't care about the compass. I'm talking about distance.
Right. I get it. I understand what you're saying. At the same time, why is it going southwest when it should be going northeast or northwest?
You're diverting. You're not answering.
I'm not diverting. I said I acknowledge your question. I don't have an answer for you. All I know is that compass said he was going southwest.
If I can jump in, right, just kind of starting to go in a circle here. Just Jonathan, just to remind you, pilots have very strict requirements for understanding how compasses work. They're not allowed to use flight charts that are over a certain age because the declination tables on those flight charts must be up to date. So they can have serious ramifications if they fly breaking the rules for having a compass. Anyway, just to be aware of that, but to not spiral anymore on this particular topic here.
Yeah. And let's give you a couple more examples real quick, and we'll call it homework. Here's a direct flight Sydney to Johannesburg on the globe, 5,900 miles, extrapolate over a flat Earth, over 10,000 nautical miles. Sydney to LA. Again, now we're kind of going more vertical north. Those ones are actually pretty close. 66, 82 on the flat Earth, 6507, because now you're basically kind of heading up towards the equator. Another thing you'll find too, if you go online, I'm not going to do it right here because I'm going to let you kind of do it yourself. You'll find videos from many people who've taken that flight, and they're basically taking videos outside of the window. They're not seeing flying up over North America. They're seeing ice. And there wouldn't be glaciers if I was flying up over North America in between those two countries. So are they fabricating these videos of them flying over or flying along the edge of Antarctica?
I haven't seen those videos. I'm not going to comment on those videos because that would be unfair for me to say. All I'm saying was the compass was showing a heading that doesn't jive, and that was my point. It doesn't jive with it. You know what I mean? If I could take that flight, I would in a heartbeat.
Right.
But I don't have thousands of millions and trillions of dollars to waste. I don't even have that much money to go. Paycheck to paycheck. Bullshit.
Have you heard about the final experiment?
What final experiment?
So
July 8th? You mean July 8th? That final experiment?
Yep, the final experiment. Have you heard about it?
Not July 8th. Not July 8th.
No, So here's a flight, Qantas over Antarctica, Santiago, direct Sydney. That doesn't look like North America to me.
No.
Got a whole lot of ice out there.
Who filmed this?
If you go search for it, you'll find a whole bunch of these videos.
Now, is this the whole flight or is this just a portion of the flight?
This is a portion. This is only a couple of minutes, but you'll find some much longer videos of people reviewing the flight. I just happened to pick the first one that showed up. Here's a guy. This one is 4 years ago, and I'm just picking some random ones here. That's not right. So again, you can do this yourself. I'm not going to spend all night going through every single one. Just going to take a little bit of research on your own. But the fundamental problem is the distance just doesn't work on flat Earth. It's impossible.
I hear you on the distance, but the compass doesn't work either.
I don't care about the compass. Pilots don't use compasses anymore anyway. We use GPS.
Oh.
Which, of course, is satellite-based. I'm sure you disagree with that, but...
What, the satellites?
Yeah.
Well, Joshua Silva, he's a pilot, and...
Oh, God. I love that guy.
So
I asked him very, very nicely. I asked Joshua Silva to debate me being another pilot. And he basically swore at me a whole bunch and blocked me. I was very polite.
Maybe you could explain.
Joshua Silva knows that he was lying his arse off.
Explain who Joshua Silva is for the audience. They probably don't know.
He's an airline pilot. He's an airline pilot that came out with a testimony of the flat Earth. There was also two other military guys as well. One with 4 physics degrees. Was a helicopter pilot. The other one was I don't know what type of pilot he was. If he was I know he flew hydrostatics and stuff.
Yeah.
Could you just
Joshua Silva,
for the audience, could you go over the evidence that he presented?
So he said that he looked in the Coriolis because he thought maybe there was like Coriolis counted in was it the angle of attack or whatever, and he started looking into it and he found there wasn't any Coriolis. And of course, being the Marine Corps, Coriolis is never talked about. We had a kid ask about it in boot camp, and they told him to shut up, that it was stupid and nobody counts for Coriolis. And at that time, I didn't know what Coriolis was. I was into the globe. I was like, what the hell is he talking about?
But sorry, you kind of got off. What did Joshua Silva present as evidence? just for the audience so that they know what you're talking about.
So he went through all of his books. He downloaded all the files and stuff and went through the files and tried finding anything in there about spin, the Coriolis and all that. And he couldn't find any of it. And there's a couple more. I don't remember off the top of my head. I got the video. I haven't watched the video in a while.
But but what evidence did he have that for flat Earth?
I don't know. Go watch his testimony.
Okay, well, I did. I was kind of messing. He didn't actually have any evidence for flat Earth. He just brought his opinion. Anyway,
that's why I'm here.
Go ahead. Yeah, you got opinions too. And all right.
The July 8th one isn't an opinion. That's data from the government that they tell us.
But we already went through that you didn't put together the evidence or the analysis. This claimed engineer put together the analysis, and I very quickly identified the error that he made.
Well, there was an error on that part, but you still can't get the globe to light up like their map that time and date gives you, that the Weather Channel gives you, that all the other meteorologists give you, that say that the sun is lighting up those areas. Some of those areas you're not going to get to light up with a single light source on a globe. I don't care how far away the light is or where the light is. If you drew a line, you drew that map, and I challenge you, draw that line on a globe, all right, and light that whole entire area up. You're not going to be able to do it. I've tried it.
But Jonathan,
Wolfie's tried it.
Jonathan, we already went through.
Right.
His specific math, and he made an error in it. And in the end, it was the 22.4 degrees, and it went exactly 90 degrees north and exactly 90 degrees south. So his incorrect drawing, even though the drawing was incorrect, it completely confirmed that it was just covering half of the globe.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Not at all. It's covering more than half the globe.
It was.
It's 85%.
He just didn't do the math. He screwed up. He
didn't screw up. Look,
you didn't do the math. I identified it right away. This claimed engineer, didn't do the math right. I mean, it's.
Yeah, he did. My mother's a math teacher, man. I verified.
But that doesn't.
I know a little bit of math.
That doesn't. You didn't do any math, Jonathan. You didn't bring any math. You just believed him, and he got it wrong.
No, I did not just believe him. I back checked it. Look, take a globe right now and draw a line on it and shine a light on it. Draw the map that time and date gave you, right? With the inner line where the silver twilight ends and the sunlight is visible. That line with all the grid coordinates I gave you, draw that line on a globe, and then shine a flashlight on it and get that flashlight to light up the entire area that you drew the line around. You're not going to be able to do it. I promise you. I guarantee my life on it. 100%.
Well, I hope you enjoy the afterlife.
I tried it.
Hang on, I'm trying to.
I drew a line on my globe that I had, and I shined a light on it, and I could not get that area fully to light up or to get lit up.
Yeah, so a flashlight
let me ask you a question, and then I was gonna kind of like drop that point. So here's your globe, right? Right. So your globe's this wide. How wide was your light?
No, my globe was actually this big. Honestly,
right,
it was a small globe.
All right, so how big is your light?
It doesn't matter how big the light is.
It definitely does matter. I'll tell you what. How big is your
sunlight? Your sunlight's 93 million miles away.
Here's my light.
So
let's pretend my head is the globe.
Show me on a globe. Show me the difference.
No. So just follow my point here. So
take a spotlight.
Hang on. Here's my light. The globe is my head. Now, if we said, how big is the sun in relation to my head? Because the problem with this, I don't want to turn the light on, blind the camera. Problem with this, I turn the light on, it's going to shine right at my head. It's not going to wrap around my head. But if my light was this big, it's not going to be focusing a light like that on my head. It's going to be basically like this. It's going to wrap around my head more as well. So that's the problem with that little test we were just trying to do, is that the light is very narrow. Gentlemen. If I took it outside and maybe put this in front of my car light, that might be a little bit different result. So can we move on to that, please?
Even if you have a ball,
the audience is getting bored.
Even if you have a ball outside in the sunlight, you're still only going to get 50% of it lit.
Okay, let's move on. What else you got? Come on, man. I want to give it back to you. Come up with another topic.
8 inches. Let's go 8 inches times miles squared. I 8 inch. It's so 8 inches times mile squared is accurate with the arc calculation up to within 1% of error, up to 1,400 miles. That does not come from me. That comes from a gentleman from a YouTube channel called I Can Science That. He is a globe head, and he's got it titled 8 inches times mile squared. When flat earthers get something right. Stephen Hawking uses it in a PBS show titled Genius, episode 6, titled Where Are We? He even uses a laser that he doesn't show level to test for 3 feet. Or for 3 miles. We get hammered if we use a laser. He uses optical sight for a 6-mile test, and we get hammered for that too. He said it was a 24-foot drop in 6 miles, but he never counted observer height, which would have put it at 15 feet, not 24 feet. He said it was a 6-foot drop at 3 miles, 8 inches times miles squared, and the arc formula both jive. I can show you a small clip from that gentleman's video where he does run the 4 equations, 8 inches times mile squared, the arc formula, and there was 2 other formulas. He runs them and compares them all together, and 8 inches times mile squared runs congruent with the arc formula, and it doesn't really start to split away from it until you get to like 1,400 miles, where the 8 inches times mile squared formula becomes a margin of 1% error. So with a 3-foot deficit, or going out 3 miles and you're dropping 6 feet, and even in the Wikipedia, a parabola, by the way, the Wikipedia even says this, and the Australian Mathematical Institute, they both use satellite dishes and reflectors inside your headlights as examples of parabolas. A parabolic approximation would be like if you're bouncing a basketball, and each parabola gets smaller and smaller and smaller. It's an approximation. And the only reason they call 8 inches times mile squared approximation is because it's actually 7.98 inches at the first mile. And they raised it up to 8 inches to make it easier to calculate. And that's why they say, well, it's approximate, because they approximate it to 8 inches.
Right. So let's just some practical observations. This is another video you posted recently. Do you recognize it?
Yeah, it's boats going over the water. You can see them going up and down with the waves way out.
So let's play it just a couple of these real quick. This one was a couple of minutes in. He's zooming out. He's zooming. All of a sudden, hey, there's your little tiny boat out there, and I can see that the boat isn't actually beyond the horizon. It's a small boat. It's bouncing up and down the waves, but the waves are actually higher than the boat. Right. So the boat isn't actually beyond the horizon yet, because it's you see the horizon up above it. So let's take a look.
How far away should the horizon be at that level?
That depends on how high the observation is.
Right. So if you're at ground level, the horizon disappears at 1.2 miles.
If the camera's on the ground, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but that's what they didn't specify here. They didn't actually say. Right. The camera is this high above the water. The boat is verified to be this far away. Right. So, and they use a little tiny boat because the boat is bouncing up and down the wave. Let's look at their next one. The same video. Now they have. You think they'd be looking for a little bit larger boat? No, they still have a little small sailboat. There's a lot of refraction. You can basically see the waves are little tiny boats bouncing up and down in the waves. So why are they using little tiny boats versus a big ship that wouldn't be affected by the waves as much?
I don't know. Why don't you ask the guy that videotaped it?
All right. Well,
I don't know why. I don't know.
Okay. That's fine.
I got a taboo conspiracy with a 21-mile video, and the dude's at 105 feet and the horizon's at 12 miles.
Yeah. The reason I asked that is I took this video quite a few years ago now, about 5 years ago. I was in Jamaica on vacation with my family. The resort itself was actually on a hill. So it made it really easy to get different observation points at different altitudes. So I'm in my room, which is kind of a little bit higher up on the hill. And I look out and I think, oh, there's a big ship out there. So I grabbed the camera, like, this is a great opportunity to get some. I got the Flat Earther favorite P900. So I basically, from the very beginning, I started out filming from the patio, from up high. But then I'm like, I'm starting this from down the beach. So I walk down to the beach. The whole video is uncut. I can send you the link if you want. So I'm down on the beach. I could see the ship, the top of the ship with my eyes. You can't see with the camera yet because the resolution of the camera isn't good enough. But I can see it with my eyes. So I know it's out there. I'm zooming in on the ship, going to maximum P900 zoom. And all you can see is the very, very top of that ship. It's really the kind of the bridge up there, the forecastle. So
how far out was that ship?
I don't know. I didn't have a way at the time of measuring how far out the ship was, so I can't tell you.
Magnification.
Yeah, I don't know. So at this point, I'm going to go back in again. I'm going to start walking, and I'm going to go up the stairs to basically one set of stairs up, jumping ahead here, walking upstairs, jumping. There we go. So zoom back in again. So now I'm going to guess about 15 feet higher than I was when I was standing on the beach.
Oh, that's being compressed.
And a little farther away.
That's compressed.
I'm about 200 feet further away. So now I'm seeing a little bit more of the ship. I'm going to keep walking. And it kind of gave you an idea how big the ship is. We're going to go a little bit higher observation point. Here we are zooming back in again. A little bit less distortion because I'm getting higher above the water. Why is my video spinning? I just started spinning. There it goes. So each time I go higher and higher and higher, I'm seeing more of the ship. The same distance on all of these, except for the one where I was standing on the beach.
100%.
All I'm changing is the height of the camera. We're going to go with the last one. It's going to be the highest one. Kitty cat.
It's compression.
Love kitty cats.
It's called atmospheric compression.
Yeah. Here is the highest point, and now I'm seeing that much more of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So that pretty much matches what we expect to see on the globe perfectly. Then I'll let you see if you can call it the explanation. It matches what we expect to see on the globe perfectly, because as the higher we go, we're now able to see over more of the curvature of the Earth. Yep. How would this observation work on flat Earth?
I can demonstrate that observation really simple on a flat level, on the flat ground. So this is how you do it. On a cold day, right? If it's cold outside, this is called compression. Look at the letters on the side of the ship; they're really squished, right? And what happens is it's cold air and hot air mixed. We can demonstrate this.
It was 95 degrees that day.
Right. So yeah, I mean, right. But you mix that with the water temperature. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, if it's cold outside, right, and you're indoors, you can place a couple blocks near your door, right? They're not going to get in the way of you opening your door, and you go about 20 feet away or so. You put your camera on the ground, about an inch off the ground. I can show you this demonstration if you'd like. When you can zoom in on the items, and they're there. When you open the door and the cold air mixes with the hot air, they disappear. But if you pick the camera up a little bit, they reappear, and you bring the camera back down, they disappear. You shut the door, let the air reacclimate and settle out again, and they come back to visibility. They reappear. I can show you a time-lapse video of Skunk Bay for the entire day, and the bay across Skunk Bay was there, and then it disappeared as if there was no bay, and curvature was there, and then it reappeared. And
that's not happening in my video. It's a very, very warm day. The water's pretty warm because we had just come back from scuba diving. The waves were maybe about 1 to 2 feet, so very, 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 very little waves. So your example you're showing doesn't really fit this scenario.
Well, I mean, that's fine. You don't have to believe it, but it's definitely compressed.
Look at the letters. Basically said, I set up a scenario. I create a cold air to come in, distorts the thing. That's not the case.
We can even do it.
Where's the, just for reference, where's the cold air coming in from outside in this example here, Jonathan?
I don't know, but Taboo Conspiracy has a video of BLMS 65 being out in San Diego at an elevation of a height of 105 feet, and he's got optical compression as well. And it's warm out. It's in San Diego, and he's looking over the Pacific Ocean, and he's got these oil rigs that are squished down, but he can still see them at 21 miles away. He's got the Apacapa Lighthouse, which is 31 miles away. You can still see it, and the itty bitty islands that are right next to it, and they're all squished like a little pancake, and it's warm air. So how does that work too? That's optical compression, or it's atmospheric compression. And what I was giving the example of the cold air and the hot air was just how you can demonstrate it, how it happens out in nature. I don't know if it needs much fluctuation. I know Taboo Conspiracy has that video from BLMS 65. I can share it with you if you'd like. And he shows that, and what he does is really interesting. Is he does exactly like what Robert explained. he takes a camera, he goes down to the ocean, onto the ocean floor or the beach, and he brings the camera all the way down to the ocean floor, and those buildings of the oil wells or whatever, they squish right down. And when he picks it up like this, he can see it.
Drop it in the chat. Let's take a look at it.
All right. How do I do that?
The Zoom's got it like the end up on the toolbar. There's a chat button. You can bring that up and just drop it in the chat, and I'll see it.
Oh, that chat. Okay, cool. Oh, sweet. All right, let me grab the link from YouTube, and I'll just send it there from YouTube. Does that work for you guys?
Yeah, that works. We'll play it real quick, side by side.
Let's go here.
And one thing it's I don't think disturbing. That's too strong of a word, John. But it seems like you're getting a lot of your material from, people like Taboo Conspiracy and probably Eric Dubay and Dearth, and you're basically getting all of your information from guys who are essentially making money off conspiracy theories.
No,
maybe it's not the most reliable sources.
That's why I go and do stuff on my own. That's why that.
The problem is we haven't really seen that. I mean, everything you've presented today is you talking about other people's work. I'd love to see your own observations where you've actually gone out with your own cameras and done some of your own things, like I've done here.
I've got atmospheric refraction a bunch of times.
Do you have any of it documented you can show us?
No, I don't have much time to get out. I wanted to. I don't have another partner to do tests. That's why the flat earthers and the globe has to work together and start finding out what the hell's going on.
While you're looking together. For that, I mentioned it earlier because I'm gonna give you a chance to look for that. The final experiment is essentially it was started by a pastor actually here in Colorado, and he wanted to. There's flat earthers for quite a long time have basically said that it's impossible to have a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And the reason being, of course, is that the sun, we have a 24-hour sun on the North Pole, right?
Yeah.
So I think that closed out that map. There we go. So we got to look at Gleason's science probably to zoom in. But if the sun is essentially doing this, it's over here doing this all the way around the white side, there's no way they could light up the ice ring all the way around the flat Earth. And flat earthers have said that for years, right?
Yeah.
So
we've caught a bunch of guys. We caught a bunch of guys fudging videos and.
Yeah. So what the final experiment is he said, let's get a whole bunch of flat earthers and a whole bunch of globe earthers. Let's go down to Antarctica in December and see if there is a 24-hour sun. Because if there is, the 24-hour sun is going to be circling all the way around their heads. And if there isn't, the sun's going to be setting and coming back up again. So he said, let's get globies and flat earthers together and let's go down and see it. That's actually happening in December. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with Jaron?
Jaron? Yeah, he talks too much.
How about Witsit?
Witsit gets it? Yep. Or gets it Witsit or whatever? No, I've seen him once or twice. I don't like you guys think I go into this mainstream stuff. I don't.
Taboo Conspiracy.
I listen to what they
they invited Dearth, they invited Dubay, they invited
Mark Sargent, Nathan Oakley,
guys to go.
Dean Odell.
They all refused except for Witsit and Jaron. A whole bunch of globies are going, including Mike. So they're all going down to Antarctica on it's a tour into kind of on the inland camps of Antarctica. It's not on the coast. They're actually going a little bit inland, and they're all going to observe the sun in December, and then come back with definitive proof of is there a 24-hour sun or not. What do you think they're going to see?
I don't know. Hopefully they don't see a 24-hour sun. I know about a oops, where'd it go?
So would it change your mind at all if they go down there?
So United States Patent Office, it's patent number 3,247,367. It talks about a solar simulator. This invention relates to a large artificial illumination system intended to be used for an artificial sun.
Oh my gosh!
Space vehicles. Now listen, this
well,
is
you just jumped the shark, Jonathan.
No. Gosh. You asked me a question, I'm going to answer it. Now it goes down to this other part. It says, although the invention has been illustrated and described with specific numerical data for effective focal length, clear apertures, and light source brightness and size, the actual dimensions of the optical system and type of light source chosen may be varied without departing from the spirit of the invention. Therefore, the invention is not limited to any of the specific sizes of optical elements disclosed. The invention may also be utilized for purposes other than solar simulation. So what do I think? I mean, I know the technology that we have today, right? So I don't.
So you really think
I don't buy their bullshit.
Yeah. So you're
I just want
to planning ahead.
I just want to make sure.
So that's my answer. It's like
that you think
there's a sun simulator. So
you think that people could fake a sun while the actual sun sets. Nobody notices that the sun sets, and then somehow swap in a sun simulator that looks just like the sun, turns the sky blue, has the exact same sunspots, and is the same angular size. That's dumb. I just want to say that's dumb.
I'm just saying, I'm not dumb, but
no, that's dumb. Anybody that thinks that is dumb.
The sun simulator is there. It's
dumb. It's true. Really dumb to think that. I just want to say this is the dumbest thing that any flat earther has ever proposed. Effie Banjo is embarrassingly stupid, and to suggest it doesn't make you look good. And the rest of the Marines, all of the rest of the Marines are very embarrassed at this moment.
Actually, I've had a bunch of Marines call me up and say they've looked at this information, they can't debunk it. So I think you're wrong.
I'm not going to insult.
Look, I'm not here to be belittled.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
You suggested sun simulator. You belittled yourself.
You cannot make the sunlight shine on the globe with that line.
Oh my gosh, where we did.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Look, you know what? No, hold on. I didn't come here and be belittled by you guys telling me I'm stupid because I showed you a sun simulator at patent. So no. I'm not here for this.
You embarrassed yourself. You belittled yourself. That's stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's really stupid. I mean, it really makes you look stupid, Jonathan. I just got to say, Jonathan, it makes you look stupid. To even bring it up makes you look stupid.
Yeah. All right.
So then the sun simulator doesn't exist, then, right?
Guys, it's getting late.
There's nothing to finish up, man. You fucking gonna be looking
you brought up this video. Let's talk about it real quick.
It's like this is bullshit. You guys, can't even get the sunlight to shine on that map, and you're gonna call me stupid. But you can't even debunk the whole July 8th thing with all the grid coordinates.
Enough. All right, you brought this up. So here's their video. They're talking about. They've got the two oil.
Whoa! Go to the end. You should let me control this part of it because.
Okay, you go and tell me what you want to do. Well, first of all, real quick, then we'll jump to the end. So here's the two rigs. One's quite a bit further out than the other one, but you look at it and you can see all of the cranes are all bent up and all distorted. If you go back and you look at that, I'm going to bring this up and then I'll jump ahead where you can bring up the other one. Here is. They're comparing their picture versus the rigs on a clear day, but there's less distortion. So here you have the further rig is much higher up on a clear day with no distortion. The other rig is much further down that you expect to see on the globe.
Great.
So just a comparison, clear day, distorted day. They were being deceptive. So how far along do you want me to go forward?
I don't. Keep going.
Start randomly skipping ahead.
Keep going. This the other way, towards the back, the beginning. Keep going.
I'll jump somewhere.
So keep going a little bit more. So that's the Antarctica Island. That's all compressed, and so those are those little itty bitty islands.
Yep.
And where he's from. The globe mandates you should not be able to see them.
You're right. It is compressed. There is a great deal of atmosphere.
And but the problem is you can still see them from 30 miles away, and those things aren't even. I don't even think they're 100 foot tall.
Yeah, it's like the same thing with the video you guys always bring up in Chicago. Like, oh my God, I can see Chicago from the other side of the Great Lake. And then when they actually play the news clip, and they're like, yeah, it's a rare phenomenon today that you can see it, but they make it act like it's an everyday phenomenon. You can see Chicago from the other side, even though Chicago looks like it's underwater. You do get days like this, but there's a lot of refraction that really brings up things that you shouldn't normally see, but you can't repeat that on a day-to-day basis. It's an abnormal. You can only
do it when the conditions are right. The object is to see it when the conditions are right. If there's refraction is air densities. It's all like water in the air, temperature, humidity, pressure, all that stuff. So if you don't have any of that junk in the air, you should be able to see clear.
Yeah. And on a clear day, just like I showed with the oil rigs a little bit ago, you get a totally different view. Yeah, but they didn't do it on a clear day. That's not clear at all. That's all distorted. It doesn't look clear at all.
Clear day. He does. You can do it on a clear day.
Well, where did he do it on a clear day?
Not on that video.
All right, so show us the video we did it on a clear day. I bet you can't.
Oh boy!
Otherwise, you would have brought that one. You've been sold a load of bullshit.
Bullshit.
These conspiracy guys.
Listen,
I don't know why you've gone the hook, line, and sinker.
I'm still waiting for you to put a light on that globe.
You guys
keep deflecting on that.
That is the only thing you're hanging your entire hat on. That
8 inches times mile.
You failed on
8 inches times mile squared. 8 inches times mile squared is
already explained it. 8 inches by mile.
No, you didn't.
You already failed. It doesn't work.
I did not fail because July 8th, the sun coverage blows it apart, and you guys keep deflecting it, and you won't answer the question. You won't even put a light on the globe with that line drawn on it because you know you can't.
All right. Do you have anything else you want to bring up? Because that's definitely my bedtime.
I was looking for that video from Dr. John D. when he was over in England filming the windmills.
Okay.
That were way out, and it was a clear day, and he could see the whole thing. And then someone else went back out there. That gentleman from Living Waters Church went out there and did the same thing on a clear day, and he got a different video.
You mean
why does it do that? I don't know. There's so much going on in the atmosphere.
We know.
But to give that as definite proof. What's that?
I think I told it to share again. So what one's like that?
Yeah, that one. So there's a video where Dr. Don, he's not
a doctor. Don't insult other doctors by giving him that.
Professor
credibility.
Dave's not a professor.
Professor Dave was a professor. He actually did.
He didn't graduate college out of his own mouth.
He did teach at a university, making him a professor.
So what he said, on his own words, was he was given that job under the guise that he had to get a master's degree, and he failed at getting the master's degree.
But did he teach at a university? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, he was a professor.
So
right?
All right, whatever. Okay.
But professor is it?
Okay, so this dude, John D, whatever. There you go. He calls himself Dr. John D. I'm not going to fuss over his name. That's garbage. He's got a video of, not these ones, these are different. But anyway, of them being, I think, like 19 miles out, and you can see the whole thing all the way down to the ground. And then this other guy goes out there and does it. I can't find the video off the top of my head.
Probably doesn't exist, but okay.
Well, holy shit.
But I'll tell you what, if you find it, please send it to me. I'd love to see it.
I'll see you guys later. I'm not doing this bullshit. You guys are fucking can't even do the July 8th thing. You won't work with me on it. You keep telling me I'm stupid. You keep telling me I'm wrong and everything else, but I know I'm not wrong. It's like all these guys are using 8 inches times mile squared. It's a 6 foot drop in 3 miles, but it's like, well, we're seeing this 100 foot item at 30 miles out, but it's just refraction, and that's why you're seeing it. Never mind all this globe math and everything else that Stephen Hawking uses and all these other globe-headed weather channels use. It's ridiculous, guys. Mm-hmm. So no, this is the thing. If I'm so stupid, then draw a line on the globe, and according to the map that the Navy shows you, and show me how that all illuminates. Get a small globe with a spotlight. Show me it, because until you can do that, you're getting nowhere with me.
And
It's
if we
85%.
and then if we do that, will you then concede, or will you come up with
go
another
ahead.
excuse?
No, go ahead.
Will
see
you?
it.
No. You didn't answer my question.
If you can illuminate if you can draw that line completely pinpoint accurate on your globe with one light source and light the entire area that line surrounds, yeah, I know you can't do it. I've already done it.
What?
Yeah, I'll concede,
Okay.
but I know you can't do it.
You just gave Mike a challenge. He'll take it.
Well, it's a challenge. I've already watched Wolfie try doing it.
All right, guys, it's been fun.
Well, not really. I don't appreciate being called stupid.
Well,
That ain't right. I'm not coming after you guys. It was supposed to be a gentleman's conversation and sharing stuff, and it was just like,
yeah.
you guys didn't even want to look at my evidence. It's just like, oh, well, this guy screwed up because he drew the cat around on the globe.
He
So the
did.
whole thing's gone, and it's like,
But he did.
I mean, you're
look, I've had math teachers. I've
acknowledge
had
the
math
fact that
teachers.
the sun was not sitting at the equator. It's
Look,
going to
I've
bleed
had
over the top just because of the fact it's sitting 20 degrees. You refuse to
Math
acknowledge
teachers
that.
looked at the math and the square area.
I don't care about the math.
Let's-
and they verified
Let's
that
bring.
that's right.
I'd be happy to see their written or verbal or in-person analysis if you have it.
They're not going to play games with you
Okay,
guys.
so-
They're,
so-
they're,
So
know, I mean, they don't
I
wanna
don't
get
care
involved in dumb
about
shit like
some
this.
guy said something. That's not a thing.
listen. This math teacher was part of their master teacher program of New York State of Math and Science. As a regional director,
What's his
so I'm
name?
pretty sure they know what they're talking about. Huh?
What's his name?
Her name,
What's her name?
Iva Jean.
I have
It's
a
my
Jean.
mother.
Your mother.
Iva
Okay.
Jean Tennant. My mother.
So your mother
She
analyzed.
validated-
She analyzed the data from
you want to
George.
challenge her on math? Look, if you want to challenge her on math, good luck.
I will absolutely challenge her on George's the claimed engineer's CAD drawing. Absolutely, yes, 100%.
I'm not. Listen, I'm not going to put my mom out here.
Then
No, we
don't
would never
cite
do
her.
that. Yeah.
Well, she valid. Like, I'll put it up against any math teacher. You go show your math teachers. Go show your mathematics
I
professors. and then
am
get back to
a math teacher,
me. So,
Jonathan. I am
so
a
is my
math
mother.
teacher.
Yeah, and my mother is too. So, and she was one of the best in New York State. She's the only one to get 100 on the Common Core in her first year of it out.
Weird
Fact.
flex. Weird
The dean-
flex.
why would the dean of mathematics beg my mom to be a part of that?
Okay, I don't care. She didn't. I don't have any input from her on whether or not it's correct. All we have is you saying.
Yeah, she's
that
not going to
she,
deal with you
she
guys.
looked at it. I don't believe you that she looked at his math because his math was wrong, and if she gave a thumbs up to that guy's math, then she's wrong too.
It's not wrong.
It
Show me.
totally is. 400 people watched it be wrong.
No. You said he plotted it wrong on the graphic. Were the grid points wrong? Were the grid coordinates wrong when the sun was visible from 0.05% and above? Were the grid
No, they
coordinates
were
wrong?
not
Oh, no.
wrong. They were
Okay,
plotted
so
wrong.
if the grid coordinates are not wrong, we can figure out the square area. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, the square area is 84% of the globe.
No, it's not.
Do the math. Then do the math. Do the calculations. Let me see it. Make a
Then
video. Let me see it.
send me the link to the
video?
to the claimed guy to the claimed engineer's analysis. I'll have a look at it.
I'll send you the whole link. Give me a second. The actual video. Let me get back on here. But
Yeah, send it on the Facebook group.
calling me stupid. And look, I wasn't saying they're going to use a second light in Antarctica. I just said that there's a sun simulator, and and you cut me off. I said I don't
Dude,
trust the government. I know what their tricks are. I'm not saying they're going to use it.
Bringing that up just
Listen,
it revealed
no,
everything that
it's-
the audience was wondering.
Listen. Is that not a patent?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. There, how
Where am I
would
going?
how would the setting sun get swapped in for the sun simulator? That is just
don't know,
just
man.
think about that right there. Just ponder for a minute on how the sun, the real sun, could set, and then somehow, while nobody was looking at the real sun setting, the fake sun simulator was put up in its place. How did that happen? People were watching, and how did it happen? No, that That doesn't pass the I'm smart test.
Oh,
It doesn't. Jonathan. To bring up Sun Simulator.
so you think
is
calling
it
me
good?
stupid? You think putting me down and all that is warranted, right? Like that was professional and
When
and all that
somebody
stuff?
says something stupid,
come on, dude.
it's appropriate to let them know that they're stupid.
Bullshit.
Because I'm not a trophies for everyone kind of guy.
There you go.
Right? If you're not smart enough to understand that doesn't make any sense at all, it's something that you need to be informed of so that in the future you can have a little more self-analysis. Oh, hey, that was pretty unintelligent of me to think that was a thing. Maybe in the future I'll make a little smarter decisions about stuff.
I haven't seen a 24-hour sun in Antarctica yet that hasn't been debunked. A lot of those tapes have been found to be, clipped and shit.
All right, I got
the absolute crap out of it.
Then I want to see it. But this right here,
we'll invite you back on to review it.
Yeah.
Listen, this right here, the way he. The final observation of sunlight coverage on July 8th by George Neuber. There you go. He's from GeoTruth 3542. Good luck. You're not going to do it. I already know, but I'd like to see you try. Like I said, Wolfie tried. He tried for 4 hours. Couldn't do it.
How do you know that Wolfie tried for 4 hours?
Because Eddie Allencart's got him on video.
Eddie has Wolfie for 4 hours?
Eddie Allencart
Eddie
has him on video.
Eddie is literally mentally handicapped. Let me just say that. He's literally mentally handicapped. He is certifiably mentally handicapped. He could
speak 3 different languages.
It doesn't make him not stupid.
Okay. Well,
just go listen to him. He thinks the Sun Simulator could be on like this little cart rolling around. He literally thought that.
Listen,
he's so dumb.
You're telling me that
it's embarrassing.
He's got the video of this guy actually trying to do it and couldn't do it. You're telling me that he's stupid because he put that video up?
I would love to see Wolfie for 4 hours trying to address this guy's stuff.
He didn't have a complete 4-hour clip, guy. I mean, he's like,
that's what you suggested.
The dude, okay, it was an exaggeration. My goodness.
Well, don't exaggerate.
He tried like hell to get that globe or that light to illuminate the globe, and he couldn't do it. He had to revert to the map on the computer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly. It was embarrassing for you guys. He tried like hell to make that work, and he couldn't do it.
All right, that's another video.
The Allencart's got the video. I don't know why you guys are being like this. This is observation from the sun. Go ahead and do the calculations yourself. If you think the guy did it wrong, then go do the calculations yourself.
Yeah. I want to see the link, please.
To what?
He put
that video that you're claiming.
He put the link. He put the the Eddie link. I'd like to see Eddie and Wolfie. Eddie featuring Wolfie.
No, he just put a video. He just put a video up on the July 8th thing.
With Wolfie in it.
I'm pretty sure it was Wolfie. I thought it was you at first, but it's not you. I'm pretty sure he said it was Wolfie.
So it went from Wolfie for 4 hours to not 4 hours to we don't know if it's even Wolfie.
Here we go.
We don't know even who it was.
Here, you're going to see in a second. Don't worry, I'll get it for you. And then you can see it, and then you can validate exactly who it is. I'm pretty sure it's Wolfie.
Looks like Eddie's taking down most of his channel.
Eddie?
Yeah, if you go look at his channel, at least underneath his name, there's like almost nothing in it.
No loss.
Bullshit. Are you kidding me? I'm looking at it right now.
What's the? It might be a different
it's
one.
Effie Banjo.
He might have multiple ones.
He does. He has Eddie Allen Cart.
Yeah,
he also has Effie Banjo.
Eddie Allencart's his name.
Yeah, what's the actual YouTube channel name? I can't remember.
Flat Earth Banjo, USA, Brazil, or something like that.
Yeah. So I tell you what, I debated him once because we wanted to go over his emergency landing.
It was a massacre.
And he did absolutely everything he could to keep me from talking. Literally, the entire hour, he said, no, I need to do my hour-long presentation. And then it was my turn to talk, and he said, we're out of time. Goodbye.
Yeah, well, this isn't... He wasn't doing it. This other kid was trying to do it. And
because as soon as I started actually looking at his quote emergency landings and actually plotting them in my actual real world flight planning software, It destroyed every lie that he made. He's a flat out liar.
Well, so isn't the whole thing with July 8th that can work
And if you ever want to like pick some of his emergency landings from his book, and I'll look at them with you one-on-one. We'll look at it one-on-one. I'll actually plot it in my actual flight planning software used by pilots all over the world, and I'll show you why every single one of his conclusions was wrong. We'll do it one-on-one, so it's not a big stage like this, and I'll show you why he is wrong. I'm happy to do that.
It's hilarious.
Again,
Eddie has never charted a flight.
Guys, and you're taking it.
Eddie has never charted a flight, and he's presenting himself as more knowledgeable than everybody that's ever plotted a flight.
Until you guys who show me on that July 8th, you get nowhere or 8 inch times mount squared. Show me how 8 inches times mount squared is not right.
You keep following these guys like Eddie and Dirt, and they're lying to you, and you've fallen for it. I hate to say that.
Steven,
I'm not calling you dumb. I'm saying, as a proud Marine that you are, you should be smarter than that to realize they're lying to you. And you're taking it. You shouldn't. You're smarter than
flat Earth. You're never going to change my mind. July 8th, 8 inches times mount squared.
Yeah, I'm asking you, as a veteran myself, please stop embarrassing yourself, because this is not good. You're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing your family. I hate to say that. Please.
Oh yeah, you sure about that?
Yes, I am.
Oh, so you know my family.
Yes.
You know a bunch of Marines that I served with that have contacted me personally and said that they're on board with flat Earth. You know them, right?
Yeah.
I'm not joking. I'm being dead serious.
You've been lied to, and it's embarrassing.
Oh yeah. So then, okay. So if I've been lied to, then show me July 8th. Show me the square. Show me how that square area, and it can be lit up by the globe. Stop doing that. Do it.
No, I'm going to totally do that, because that's your one trick pony.
Yeah, that and 8 inches times mount squared. The globe mandates. Listen, the globe mandates that curve.
No, you made it.
And we can see way too far. We got laser tests, everything else. There's more than just that.
No, you can't.
There's more than just that.
You keep watching conspiracy videos. They're lying to you.
Always ignoring confounding variables. That's the standard thing. You guys do
1 or 2 videos that show refraction, and you say, "Oh, there's curvature."
Like refraction only works for flat Earth when it benefits.
You showed one video that you tested.
Yeah.
And it had curvature. It had freaking refraction.
All right. Are we done?
These guys got like 50 videos of showing long distance shots of different videos.
No,
and you only got one.
No, they have a little tiny.
We only got one.
Down the waves.
That was the one video. There's hundreds of them out there.
All right. We done, Mike?
Yeah.
I'm ready for that. Again, if you want to, Jonathan, I'm still happy to talk to you one-on-one, and we could even come back and do this again. I don't know if you want to go through the embarrassment and punishment again. But if you come up with something one-on-one that you want to talk to me about, I'm more than happy to talk to you and help you out. But
not embarrassed.
You've been fooled, and it's embarrassing.
No, actually, I've not been fooled. I'm not embarrassed. I stand firm. I stand firm that this is true. I stand firm that even the Bible is true. You're not going to derail me from that. Final observation.
That's your right.
Listen, the July
Bible, I don't care. That's fine. I don't care. That's your right, and everybody else is right. And I'm not.
The sulfur pockets, Sodom and Gomorrah prove it right, and there's a bunch of other stuff that I can get into, but I'm not going to do that right now. July 8th. Nice. I'm telling you guys, July 8th.
It's a cool fairy tale, but that's nice.
Fairy tale. Then how did the sulfur packets get into Sodom and Gomorrah?
That's a nice fairy tale. Good night.
How did the sulfur get into Sodom and Gomorrah?
It's time to go.
Totally off topic.
I don't care about fairy tales.
You can't answer it. You don't know the answer.
If you want to believe in fairy tales, that's your choice. Did he rage quit or did you kick him?
I didn't kick him.
He rage quit.
Well, while I won't. Let's see. Wrong one here. While he was in the Marines, so I'll show the Marine document.
Yeah.
Just a second here. All right. Here is tactics, techniques, and procedures for the field artillery, manual cannon gunnery, U.S. Marine Corps.
You should drop that in the chat with them and point out that page as it talks about doing corrections.
Yeah, it's table H on page 208. So let's go to 208.
Yeah.
Right here, table H. So This is part of the Marines, right? So any Marine calling up saying, "Hey, I agree," you're just wrong. This is from the Marines. Corrections to range in meters to compensate for the rotation of the Earth. Oh no. And then table I, corrections to azimuth and mils to compensate for the rotation of the Earth. So this is correction to azimuth. The other one is correction to range. So that's for vertical. Yeah. So there's...
I doubt there's going to be any super chat questions for me, but if you have any, I'm happy
yes,
to answer.
I'll do that. I have to say, just to review, Jonathan, if you still are listening, you are dumb and it is embarrassing and you should stop. Bringing up the sun simulator completely 100% commits you to being stupid, Jonathan. You are really, really, really dumb if you think that talking about the sun simulator didn't make you look really dumb. It is one of the stupidest ideas any flat earther has ever had as an excuse for the 24-hour sun. It is seriously, I can't stress it enough. That it makes everybody that suggests it look mentally handicapped.
That's because they're stuck. They know what you guys are going to see in December.
They
know it's going to basically prove them wrong, so they have to make up some BS excuse.
Yep. All right. Let me. I'm gonna fix the display here, and then I'll
make background back on so you guys can quit looking at my messy office.
Yeah. It's not that messy. Where's the cat?
Luckily, he hasn't come in. I cleaned it up.
All right.
I had scuba stuff all over the place the other day because I was cleaning up.
Oh, you were scuba diving in Colorado there.
No, we went someplace else. We don't dive in Colorado. It's too cold.
All right. Let's see. See if there's anything for you. Well, with Cygnus Steps, as I say, Toon takes off his shirt and plays guitar, so you will all thank me for not doing that. Nick in Short says, "Can the intelligent fellas talk now, please?" That's you and me, I think.
All right, and since you asked.
Yes. Oh, there's the kitty. Okay. That was quick.
He's a 19-pound black cat. He does not like being held.
All right. Annalise Knapp says, "Teaching at a university makes you a professor. Dave taught at a university. Therefore, he was a professor. This bozo has clearly never studied at university." Nothing specifically for you. I know it's getting late for you, so I'll let you go if you want.
All right. Yeah, we got work in the morning, but trying to think of anything else. Did he respond? No. I thought it's not sure he'd be rage messaging us by now.
We got Darkstar 4400 says, hello, Robert. Hello, fellow Coloradoan.
Thank you.
From Darkstar 4400. So, are we gonna get a showing?
He's thinking about it.
No, all right. Well, I'll go to the other super chats. You can stick around, or you can.
I'll stick around for a couple minutes.
All right. Dora Nku says, another Flurf pilot. No, Robert is the pilot. The Flurf was obviously not a pilot. Nobody would trust their life to that guy. Cygnus Step says, please don't drink too much Toonshine tonight, my friend. I think that's in response to Craig having had quite a few drinks earlier to himself. Cygnus Steps says, love you, Toon, but this has become ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, that was right away. That was 18 minutes in. There he is. There's a kitty. 18 minutes in, and Cygnus Step is already had already seen through The Incredibly Dumb. Soul Watcher Paranormal is a new member at Newton. Thank you for joining. Mr. E-Man gifted 5 memberships. Awesome. I did update the outro, which won't have the 5 new memberships, but everybody else will. Won't have Soul Watcher either. Cygnus Step says, what is this guy even talking about? Yeah, the July 7. Why did he pick July 7? He was so hung up on that day. Like every single day of the year, the sun illuminates 50% of the Earth.
Yeah, and I'd actually love to see you, actually do the math to figure out where they went wrong, and that way we can show it to them. It's obviously it's wrong. So
yeah, well, I think the way he decided to draw it by putting the sun at 20 right at the equator in the drawing, that would, and then his diagram then was skewed, and instead of bringing down, wrapping or rolling back the top portion of it back to have the Terminator line be where it should be on that new it's weird drawing.
And the 2 drawings, one was like this and the other one wasn't. And
yes.
Look at this difference.
Yeah. So he had 22 and a 22 point whatever, 22 degrees, 22.6 in the middle vertically, and then had the very top of it 90, and then the backside of it bringing it around to 67.6. Like, hold on a second. That very top of it from the front is 67.6, not 90. Yeah. That was the problem. He's like, well, he drew it in CAD. Doesn't matter. But my mom looked at it. Did she also give you crayons to eat?
Somebody made a good comment in the chat that he should have asked his mom to come downstairs.
Oh my gosh. Mr. E-Man says, does the Flat Earther have any positive proof for Flat Earth? No. And yes, he was how dumb. We're like, why is the portion of the Gleason map illuminated, not circular? Don't know. Maybe it's the dome. Don't care. You need an answer.
Here's the other one.
Oh, there he is. This guy Gray?
Yeah.
Little happier guy?
Yeah, he's not trying to tear my face off.
Well, it's like, I'm out. Let me go.
He's still sitting on my lap. Okay, there he goes.
Okay. Cygnus Step says, spinning, whirling, still descending like a spiral sea, unending sound, and a fury drowns my heart, every nerve that is torn apart. In all caps. I don't know. Is that from a song? I don't know. I don't recognize it. Nixon Shorts says, can the intelligent fellas talk now? Nugs Automation says, the difference between Toon and Flurf's articulating math. What a difference in presentation. I like that Toon actually does the math live. I tell you, sometimes I get nervous doing the math because everybody makes mistakes doing math. And in math, when you make a mistake in a 12, 15, 50 step thing, you make a mistake back at step 4, you might not know until you get to the end. Wait a second. Right? That's why a lot of the time you do these checks. And that's why when you're doing physics, you use the cheat codes. The cheat codes in physics is dimensional analysis. Cygnus Steps, his favorite meme from last week, the Dallas receiver losing the ball in the sun. We know where the sun is every day, all day. I didn't see that meme, but it sounds like a ball sports meme, so I don't know. RT96 says, some Redditors finally found that FEX song. But all the flat earthers around the globe can't find any FE proof. Absolutely. Lord Illuminous Poos is, okay. Trees are made into Jenga blocks. Have to keep reliving their end. An octopus is just a water spider. Hopefully your bones are always wet. I didn't get it either. Cygnus Steps is tuned. Shut this down and play some Skinnerd instead. I can't play music. You get struck if you just play music like that. Kango 44 for 10 Kiwi bucks says, please ask the Flatty why sunrise in Sydney is 3 hours after sunrise in New Zealand, even though from Auckland to Santiago to Sydney is only 600 kilometers longer than the length of New Zealand. He can't answer anything. The compass direction was wrong. Oh my gosh. This is the what is the always the same flat earth argument? They say the globe predicts something the globe doesn't predict. This doesn't match, therefore flat. So he's like, the globe predicts that the compass should do this, but that's not what the globe predicts. But he insisted that that's what the globe predicts.
So I was just reading a comment on a flat earth banjo video. It's about pilots. And he asked, so when you're flying from Nairobi, Kenya, at the equator towards Quito, Ecuador, at the equator, your aircraft is flying backwards due to the rotation of the Earth. Otherwise, you'd make the 16-hour-long journey in just 6 hours. So again, here's Banjo basically claiming to be, aviation expert, and he still thinks that the atmosphere rotates differently than the Earth itself.
He doesn't understand conservation of momentum.
Hover in place, and the Earth will come to you. And
he's, like I said,
the idiocy that people like Jonathan are falling for.
Banjo is mentally handicapped, and anybody that's fooled by Banjo is even dumber.
Yeah.
Jonathan, are you listening to me? You were fooled by Banjo. And he's mentally handicapped. And you're dumber. I don't mind saying it. You need to know your limitations. Okay? Jonathan, the reason why you sucked in school is not because the school was wrong. It's not because everything was weighed against you. It's because you're not smart, Jonathan. And those Marines calling you that think the Earth is flat, they're also stupid. Okay? It's not a good look for Marines, but there is a stereotype for the Marines, and stereotypes generally have a reason. Don't be the stereotype. I don't know, little harsh there, but Jonathan, you earned it. Kango 44 says, if anyone is interested, the Himawari 8 view is a great example of the sunrise over the southern hemisphere. Yeah, that's a good one. All of the geosynchronous satellites, geostationary satellites, are really good to watch the sunsets because you see from 6 months to 6 months the portion of the Earth that's lit and not lit. It's a really good one. Cygnus Steps says, we will call you Cygnus, the god of balance you shall be. I don't get that one. Cygnus, but I mean, Cygnus is his name. Is that a lyric? Is that where your name comes from? I don't know where it is. I don't know the history. Darkstar 4400 says, facts. I don't need facts. I know what I believe. That's it. Isn't it? Like, and right, he said it, but if we show him a globe that's 50% illuminated, like July 7, he won't keep his word. Flatties never keep their word. JSS Tiger says, in order to replicate sunlight on a model globe, you need a huge light source because the sun is 800 times the diameter of the Earth. Yes, that's correct. So that's the point I made. Yeah, but now it's also very far away. So you can do it with a light source that's larger than the analog Earth. Right. So I have like these ring lights here. These ring lights are larger than a small model Earth. So all you need is a somewhat directional, right? You don't want a light that's super diffuse. You don't want it in a room that's reflecting a ton, so you get the backlit. But it's not difficult. He actually, this is what's crazy. He's actually so dumb. Jonathan, hope you're still watching. Jonathan is actually so dumb that he doesn't think that a light source that's larger than a sphere and far away could actually illuminate 50% of that sphere. He's like, I did it with the flashlight and it was close. Yeah. That's not our claim. That's not the globe model. The sun is very large and far away. You need to have some analog for that if you're looking at this exact portion of it that's illuminated. It's really not that difficult. It's just basic geometry, which he didn't get. 3Ron says, what magic only compresses the bottom part of the ship? All of it should be receive this magical compressing at that distance. Yeah, and he did screw himself when he's like, you open the door and you let the cold air in. Well, what cold air was let in when you walked up the stairs?
I don't screw with that in cold places with cold air. Like, no, I'm going to warm tropical places.
That's yeah. Annalise Knapp says this flurf is almost as bad as the Cation guy. You remember the Cation guy, Trey Hutchinson? Oh, good old Trey. 3Ron says, I thought this flurf says he doesn't watch the other flurfs, but he parrots their lies exactly. That was interesting when you asked him about the others, and like he tried to press us on our own observations.
Yeah.
When he didn't have his own.
Yeah.
And all he has was quoting others.
And that's his entire thing was quoting and reading others' work. It's like, what have you done? Well, I've done that. Well, show us.
He couldn't even understand.
People help me observe it.
He couldn't even understand the math that he was presenting. Because for people watching, in the run up to this today, he was saying he loves math and he's going to show the math like that he did. I thought it was going to be the math that he did. And there's no way in hell
I thought that was the case as well.
There's no way in hell his mom gave a thumbs up to that. She actually looked at it. And he did not learn any of the math from his mom by just being near his mom or being her offspring. He cannot do math. He does not understand geometry. Rick says, has your guest seen Dave McKeegan's July 8 video? Well, July 8, and again, it's the fact that he kept going to the July 8 video is weird, because July 8, if you went over it, Robert, but
I think it's because that's the date that the rumor, the internet rumor that timeanddate.com was referring to. And timeanddate.com even said that's not the only date it happens. There's a lot of dates that the same thing happens. He says that's the one that the internet rumor was based upon.
Yeah. Yeah. But the point is that on July 8th and some other days, a certain portion of the world's population has sunlight at the same time or darkness at the same time. And is it, I forget which one. Must be darkness at the same time. Because because the GP of the center is in the southern hemisphere. So so then flat earthers get confused about that. They're like, oh, they miss the world's population part and they just see world part, and they're like, 80% of the world is illuminated. Not possible on a globe. But hold on a second, just to be clear, every single damn day of the year, 100% of flat Earth has to be illuminated. So you you still suck. You're still stupid, flatties.
But the sun only reaches so far.
Why? I don't know the dome. Oh my gosh. Like here's the dirt pizza. Here's the sun. Here's the dome above the sun. How could this thing here stop the sun from getting to other places on the flatness? Couldn't. Jeez. But yeah, so Dave McKeegan's July 8 video is definitely something, but it really wasn't to this guy's point. So then this guy fixated on July 8th, and he took the Navy's numbers, but just for reference, the numbers that the Navy output were not based on observations directly. They were based on the known previously measured radius of the globe and then just said, well, here's the GP of the sun and here's where it's going to be illuminated. So they just applied the globe. They 100% just applied the globe to say this is where it will be illuminated. And then this fake engineer guy said, let me go the other direction with the analysis, right? Which is, it's just math going backwards math. And he just did the backwards math wrong. Proves nothing.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jay Donashi says when Flirf see the 24-hour sun in Antarctica, they'll just claim coffee cup caustic, but the sun will be outside the dome, which screwed up the local sun idea. Yes, and it also won't be reflected left to right, so we won't have a mirror image of it. So what will they be? They'll say, I don't know, the dome. Everything is, I don't know, everything is special pleading. Don't you get it? Special pleading makes you look stupid, Jonathan. Lord Illuminous Pooh says, I, Sir Lord Reverend Illuminous Pooh, PhD, leader of the Illuminati, world's strongest man in Time's person of the year 2006 and 2011, am very humble, but not as humble as Witsit. And then Drew Smith has a super chat for $1, but no message, because for a $1 super chat, you don't get a message. But Drew Smith, if you'd like to tag me, I will read out whatever you type, as long as it's not ridiculous. And that wraps up the super chat backlog. Well, John, all right. I just was Jonathan. I don't know. I can't apologize. I just can't. I can't actually apologize for calling you stupid. You're stupid. Robert is nicer than I am at this point on this topic on you. But no. In fact, the part of the reason why the reason why I was a little bit late starting was because I was preparing for a video I'm going to be recording soon, and soon being shortly after finishing this one, on the sun simulator. And I watched a bunch of the different sun simulator claims by a bunch of different flatties, including Austin Whitsitt. And it's dumb. It really is dumb. Anybody that thinks is so dumb, so extremely very dumb.
When did Austin make his? Is it like in preparation for him going down there and seeing 24 hours?
It was this spring.
Okay, so before
and I know it was spring because I know where I was when I watched it live. It would have been April.
Okay.
Maybe early May.
I gotta tell you, I'm a little jealous of your upcoming trip. That sounds like it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I mean, even taking away the whole flat Earth versus not part, to just doing a trip to Antarctica for how many days you're gonna be on the continent?
Parts of 5 days, 4 nights.
Yeah. I think that's gonna be an incredible trip. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
I'm looking forward to it, and I'm anxious and nervous, and I'm so excited that so much support from the audience here.
So is somebody going to have a Starlink down there so you can be live streaming from Antarctica, the place you're not allowed to go?
Yes, and to the satellites that apparently don't exist.
There's a cell phone tower in Antarctica, right?
Well, I might be bringing a cell phone, well, not a cell phone scanner, an RF scanner. So I have, there is it's a ham radio that's a decent price and can be used as a scanner. So okay. I might get that. I need to make sure I can use it. I don't want to buy it and then not know how to use it. It's pretty involved. I'm not a ham. I don't have a license. I've never sought a ham license. I don't know the details. I studied the engineering, so I understand the transmission and receiving part, but the implementation of it I've never done. So this is new for me. So I just need to make sure I get it. Lord Illuminous Pooh says, everyone, please Google Times Person of the Year 2006. All right, hold on. Time Magazine named you as its 2006 Person of the Year. And who was 11? 2011, The Protester was the time of the year. Okay, one more thing. Did you notice, Robert and audience, that he just hinted a tiny bit at compasses and how he thinks they work? Did you hear what he said? He said the North Magnetic Pole pulls the north end of the compass toward it.
Yeah.
He thinks that the needle of a compass, the north end of it is pulled towards the North Pole. Not that the compass needle is a magnet itself and simply aligns north and south with the magnetic field of the Earth. So it's pointing south just as much as it's pointing north because the magnetic field pulls it in both directions simultaneously. He didn't get that. He doesn't understand that, but he wanted to talk as if he knew a lot about compasses.
And I even say too, I mean, he's, I don't know, about 10 years younger than me, and we were using GPS when I was in. I can guarantee that they were using GPS more to navigate than an old-fashioned compass.
In the Marines?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure
my guess is he wasn't doing any orienteering.
Yeah. He told me what his job was in the Marines. I'm not going to share it live, but it didn't have anything to do with navigating in combat.
Yeah.
He was not a combat Marine, which it's perfectly fine. I wasn't a combat Air Force person either. I was support. So there's no disparaging that, but he wasn't like, following trenches, so using his compass to navigate.
And I was a non-combat civilian as well, so nothing wrong with that, right?
No, absolutely not.
Annalise Knapp says, please check in on FTFE after his drunk stream. Apparently, somebody said he had 12 shots. And, oh my God. And he likes tequila. So, yep.
He's pretty wired sober. It's like, I would have liked to see that.
12 shots. I mean, I've done a 3.
I'm really boring when I drink that much. I get sleepy. I want to go to bed.
Oh, Zumi says it was like 20 shots. Oh my gosh.
Yuck. Especially tequila.
Oh, I know. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good margarita, I'll drink it, but.
Well, yeah, it's because all the flavor of the tequila is hidden by all the sweet stuff. Drew Smith says, I emailed a couple videos of the globe on July 8th. Let me see if that's... Is it?
Yeah, it'd be great if we could find somebody who actually did what he asked, so that had the bigger light source, and then we just send it to him and say, all right, convert.
Oh, that's what it is. So is this a large light source? Yeah, all right. I'll do this. Hold on.
Oh, you're talking about it? Is Jonathan who sent him?
No, Drew Smith did. So yeah,
okay,
hold on.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta download that one.
That's a comment that he made about. I don't know if I misheard it, but like nobody could have more than 12 hours of daylight in a day. I'm like, well, that's wrong. I don't know if I heard that wrong, but
I was wondering if he was going to go there because that's very wrong.
Yeah.
Between the Antarctic Circle and the Arctic Circle on the equinoxes, you get very close to 12 hours everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, I have the videos. Is that it? It is. All right, hold on. Almost. Okay. All right. I'll share too quick, Robert. Now this is unwatched, other than real briefly.
Okay.
So there's a globe, and there is 50%.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, look at that. On a stand there. Look at that. Look at that Terminator line, nice and crisp.
Yeah.
There it
So
is.
drop that in the chat, and I'll send it to Jonathan.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, we can look at July 8th, and then, but we can look here. Let's see what, yeah. So over the top here, we see it went to 67.6 degrees, right?
Yeah.
And Anchorage, Alaska is at 60 degrees. If you look there, I can see it. Maybe you should be able to on YouTube. You should be able to see that Anchorage there is not inside the lit portion. And now it's not exactly opposite the North Pole, but just as a little bit of a reference there, Anchorage is at 60 degrees. So this is very close to 67 degrees. So, yep. You could do a better simulation by having a bright light behind a circular diffuser with a little bigger than a globe in darkness, and you get more accurate example. Yes, diffuser, or a bigger light, of course. But yeah, that's true. Rob Hoyle says if you do get in touch with FDFE, try to convince him deleting that stream would be a great idea. Wow, I have not watched it. But I will send him that message. There we go. Okay. There's that. Drew is, so the other one you did send two. Hold on, let me play the other one. So the other one, he's holding it in his hand there, so it's not quite as.
Jonathan already mounted. Posted on his Facebook page that we tried to eat him. He ignored the evidence. Here's Google Maps they tried to use and call it out. They call me stupid for mentioning a sun simulator. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's already whining on his Facebook page.
Well, he probably won't like, and it is coincident. He won't like the video that I will be releasing soon about how incredibly dumb people are that think that a sun simulator could actually simulate the sun. Yeah. It is one of the dumbest things anybody could ever propose. Yeah. It just shows how incredibly non-thinking they are if they think that simulating the sun could somehow work. How could you swap the sun setting for the simulator? Right? Would you how could you do that? Would you put the simulator in front of the sun and then somehow not notice that the sun set?
I haven't looked at it much at all either, but in the simulator, I mean, I imagine they're not simulating a sun that's going to be the same size as a real sun.
Well, you'd have to.
This is like a small little, we're simulating the nuclear fusion of sun. It's a little tiny thing.
Well, no, the patents are basically large spotlights that are very, very bright. That's all it is. Yeah. It's a whole bunch of lights together. That's it. Just lots of light bulbs. And so what they're trying, what it is useful for is if you are filming, say you wanted to film something, right? To record something for a movie where the ground and the trees and the whatever you were looking at was lit up. Well, yeah, you could do that with a very bright light. That's essentially what it is. But it won't make the sky blue. It won't, when you look at the sun, it won't look like the sun because it's just a big old light. And it won't be the correct height for the sun or the correct size for the sun when you put a solar filter on your camera. Like, it wouldn't even be bright enough for that. But let's imagine it was. It won't be the right shape, right? The sun's a circle. When you look at it, it's got sunspots. A bunch of light bulbs look like a bunch of light bulbs. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, Darkstar 4400 says every light bulb and candle are sun simulators, but don't tell Jonathan. So, all right. Well, that is that.
Yeah.
I have next week. Witsit has been doing some laying the groundwork to ditch the globe, and so his episode 3 of Ditching the Globe was earlier this week. So I will be reviewing that next week. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this trip and then the excuses they come up afterwards. He's not going to want to give up his grift, and he's going to come up with some pretty creative stuff to try to get around the fact that what you guys are going to see down there.
yeah, and they all know. They all know what we're going to see. Every one of them.
Yeah.
So anyway, Robert, thank you very much.
Have a good night.
We'll see you later, everybody. Oh, hold on. Lord Illuminous Poo comes in late with the late super chat. Says, "Are you kidding? You can get a sun simulator on Etsy. It's super easy, barely an inconvenience." Thank you, Mr. Pooh.
Yeah.
Here we go.
MC2, drill.b.
All right. Let it flow. Let yourself go. So I know that is the tempo.
So, yeah, let's do this. So,
Let's do this. Yo, it's MC2, the debunking tycoon. I shatter flat earthers, make them face the moon. Your attempts are decent, but they'll swoon in the face of my logic like a deflated balloon.
Oh, MC2, the one soon cartoons. On the real stage, send it first to their views. Your theories are like old brews, sweeping ignorance, or just spreading the views.
FDFE stands for fumbling the facts evidently. I drop truth bombs so splendidly. Your approach is soft, mine's unrelenting. I bring the science while you're just venting.
MC2, the thing with silver spoons. I tackle pseudoscience, make them change their tune. You're the sidekick, I'm the room. When it comes to debunking, I'm the room.
In the rizzle dizzle. But hey, FTFE, we share the creed to educate and debunk the plant the seed. Though in this rap, it's clear indeed I've got the upper hand in word and deed. Alright, hold on a second. The Zoom call died. Everything died! No!